Wait, you have a TV?
No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. You don't need a TV.
Television addict! Television addict! Television addict!
Hey everybody, Ken Reed here, your TV guidance counselor, with the show TV Guidance Counselor, as we have done each and every week since Valentine's Day 2014, and as we wrap up 2020 on a more hopeful seems like a exaggeration, but on a slightly better note, everybody, 2021 is going to be better. So I am looking forward to seeing the back of this year. Speaking of which, before we get into this episode proper, I will be doing, for my final episode of the year at the end of the month, another sort of director's commentary wrap up of the whole year. People seemed to like that last year, so if you didn't, I apologize. But I'll be kind of going episode by episode, week by week, through the whole year and giving you my thoughts on what was going on and sort of reminding you of stuff. People enjoyed that because there were some episodes they missed. Because often I do more than one episode in a week, but not in a regular fashion. That's not what I meant to say. But so for those of you that don't subscribe on the various podcasting formats or platforms, you may miss an episode here and there. So if you want to subscribe, that would help. Also, if you want to rate and review the show, that is a huge help. I am an on hiatus stand-up comedian until COVID is over, and as such have a very thin skin. And every time I get a bad review, it bothers me for weeks. So if you have a moment and want to leave me a good review to help my fragile ego, that is excellent. But you don't have to. And also we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TV Guidance Counselor. You can give $1, no dollars, whatever you like there. And in a new way to help the show, for the very first time, we have a sponsor. You may have heard it last week. It's this week as well. And I was very adverse to having sponsors. I haven't had them for almost 7 years because I just didn't find any products that I liked until one approached me and I really loved what they were doing. And that product is Magic Spoon. So Magic Spoon is sponsoring this episode. This episode's brought to you by them. They are a cereal company. If you know me, I love sugary cereals in my Arrested Development. And every Saturday I try to sit in front of the TV with a bowl of cereal and watch some old cartoons as sort of my my zen moment. Don't mind the dogs; they're just murdering looks like a drifter. Yeah, it's a drifter. It's fine. But anyway, I love cereal and I eat a lot of sugary cereals, and I really need to start watching my weight and my health because lockdown has not been great. And I am 40 years old now, and I don't know how that happened. But Magic Spoons kind of takes the sort of fun of those kinds of cereals, but is actually good for you. And it's kind of amazing. So it has no sugar, 0 grams of sugar, 11 grams of protein, 3 net carbs in each serving. It comes in a variety of flavors. I really actually love the fruity one the best. They're kind of like Fruit Loops, although the frosted's very good as well. It's sort of marshmallowy. It's very good. They have sort of fun, cool, retro blacklight looking packaging. So it's not like a oat bran looking brand fiber adult cereal. So it's still kind of fun. Anyway, they're very good. I recommend just pick up a variety pack. Just try it once. They have a money back guarantee, which is kind of crazy. So if you go to magicspoon.com/TVGC for TV Guidance Counselor and put in TVGC at the checkout, you get free shipping. That also helps us because then they go, oh, people listen to TV Guidance Counselor with Ken Reed and they take his recommendations, and that is good. And again, it helps fund the show. So I'm a one-man band here, fund everything myself. So again, magicspoon.com/TVGC, put in TVGC at checkout and you get free shipping. As I said, there's a bunch of flavors. They have seasonal flavors, but their variety pack is sort of their 4 core flavors of cocoa, fruity, frosted, and blueberry. As I said, fruity and frosted are my 2 favorites. Also fruity frosted, it's just really fun to say. Again, it's very good. And if you don't like it, they will give you your money back and you still got free shipping, and that helps me. Anyway, on to this week's show. My guest this week is Brett White. You may have heard me on Brett's show, Must Have Seen TV. He is the TV guide. I am the TV guidance counselor. But he is amazing, a fellow TV enthusiast, a little younger than me, so his era skews a little bit later, which we talk about here. Super good guy. Great conversation. I think you'll love it very much. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of TV Guidance Counselor, brought to you by Magic Spoon, with my guest, Brett White.
TV is my friend, and it has been always there for me in time of need.
Live via satellite from, is it New Jersey? Am I right?
Jamaica, Queens.
Jamaica, Queens. That's right. That's the New Jersey of New York.
It's the New Jersey of Queens.
The only part of Queens I've ever been to is Long Island City. But anyway, Mr. Brett White, how are you, sir?
I'm doing as good as you are.
Oh, so that's not good.
Yeah, that's the tea. That's the life that we are living.
Yeah, I had a panic the other day that I had COVID because I forgot that like 2 Sundays ago, in a Sunday morning, I tripped and fell down a flight of stairs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So my chest was hurting, and I was like, oh my God. But I'm like, oh, wait, I fell downstairs.
I still convince myself, like, you may have caught it from the capsule prescription delivery person that stood and handed a thing, even though I have not left my apartment since March. I've left my apartment 5 times since March 6th.
Yeah, I don't even think I've done that many. Yeah, so I'm like, oh, maybe it was on a cardboard, like, who knows? Yeah, but
so
I'm fine. So, and you're fine.
I'm fine.
In respect to that.
I've bought so many action figures. I've bought so many toys.
What's your most embarrassing splurge?
Well, there have been phases of the pandemic. So the first phase was vinyl records because I was like, early pandemic, it's like, going to the home office, putting on a record, listening. So, I got my, Emmett Rhodes, Fleetwood Mac, Electric Light Orchestra, Roxy Music.
Full 70s.
Yeah, getting some like fun stuff. And then I was also like, let me find all of those. We're going to read a Star Wars storybook and put it on 45, like Return of the Hoojibs and stuff like that. So I bought a bunch of those. Mission to Ord Mantell.
Oh, yeah. A classic.
Yeah, so I bought a bunch of those. And now I'm in the action figures phase. And none of these are embarrassing because I mean, maybe the quantity is because I've gone from, I just need to get 90s X-Men to, I need to get every single Marvel character as they appeared in 1990. I need to get that.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, because you were about the same age, and so that's probably your cutoff for caring about what they look like.
Oh, well, I mean, like, that's the peak. I mean, the X-Men peaked in, well, for me, is like 93 is for me.
Okay, so like a year after the launch.
That's when I started, actually. I started reading X-Men comics in like late 92, early 93. So I'm like, yeah, they peaked literally when I came on.
Yep. You were responsible for that just nosedive.
No, 94, 95. 97 was also a good year, but then after 98, it gets rough. But I mean, I've never stopped reading comic books in 27 years, so.
Yeah. I checked out of a lot of the superhero stuff in the 90s, like post Chromium Age crash. I was like, I'm sticking with my horror comics that I've always had since I was a child.
Absolute. I mean, 97, you got Deadpool was great in 97, X-Force was great in 97, Joe Kelly's X-Men run is really great in 97, but then it goes fully off the rails for like 3 years. Yeah. But that's me. That's the life.
No, I don't think it's just you.
Yeah. Well, I realize that like everyone has a 5-year cycle of superhero comics. I started like 92 to 97 is my, TV shows a 5-year run is good. Comic books a 5-year run is good because after 5 years is when all of a sudden like, oh, Wolverine got his adamantium back. Archangel got his feather wings back.
These people that were dead are now alive.
So it's like all of the things that happened when I first started reading that I was like, holy shit, like, oh my God. They started reversing in 5 years, and I could start seeing like, oh, wait a second, this is a Groundhog Day situation.
Oh, yeah. And it has to be.
And it has to be because it goes on forever, and I've never stopped. I'm still on it, except I did drop all the X-Men books this year out of rage, but that's a triggering conversation that I'm still waiting to get into with my therapist.
Well, we'll move on. I won't charge you for this to the issue in a moment, but I hit a wall around 2000 when I realized that the worst part of comic books is continuity.
Yeah, like I'm glad I finally came around to that because when Grant Morrison came on X-Men in 2001 and did not care about continuity, that drove my I was probably a senior in high school. Yeah, it drove me insane. I was like, the Imperial Guard are not the Super Guardians. What are you talking about? Cannonball does not act like that. What are you doing? And now as an adult, I realize literally none of it matters. It doesn't retroactively change the text in your old issues.
And that's how you tell a story.
Yeah.
Like if you're bogged down with this, all this continuity, which is true of TV series too. That's why they can't go on forever and be interesting.
Oh man, I'm watching all the Bewitched. I'm watching all the Halloween episodes of all sitcoms you can stream in order right now. So since I'm in the 60s, Bewitched is all of them, and seasons 1 and 2 of Bewitched Halloween episodes actually build on Darren learning to not prejudice to not stereotype witches. But then I just watched the season 6 one, and we are back to. Even Samantha's like, oh, it's just harmless fun. Even though in seasons 1 and 2, she's like, you're a bigot, Darren. But you know what?
There's a fascinating thing with Bewitched on the Christmas episodes where they actually remade the same script twice.
Oh, yeah, they did that a couple times.
Because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They didn't think of reruns. They're like, well, we have the script, just use it again. Who cares?
Yeah.
But it's in color now with the new cast. Who cares? That doesn't matter.
Although, let's be honest, Dick Sargent's not going to do the physical comedy as good as Dick York. I'm a Darren one fan.
Yeah. But then Grant Morrison's run of Bewitched. Wow. That was something.
But, you know what the crazy thing is you could tell me that there was a Bewitched cameo in his Batman run, and I'd be like, yeah, that probably makes sense.
That makes sense. I met him once. He's an insane person.
He's a space alien?
Yeah, he is. He's crazy. He tried to get me to participate in a bar fight with him. Not me fighting him, but he and I fighting the bar.
Just trashing it? Like Van Halen?
Yeah, no, he was like, I think you and I could take these people, I'm going to kick it off. And I'm like, I don't know about that.
Not, man.
It was a little weird. I always, the joke I make about Mad Men is someone was a big Bewitched fan and was like, if we could do this without this witch shit.
Yeah,
it would be perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
They also so on my podcast Must Have Seen TV, when we did a Bewitched episode the first time, we talked about how Bewitched just looks like Mad Men. For some reason, of course, literally every show from the 60s could look like Mad Men, but of all of them, for some reason, Bewitched the most looks like Mad Men.
Because it was wish fulfillment in that Bewitched went out of its way to present the kitchen of today. To be if you're a middle class, you're making good money, this is the most modern home you could have. To the point where they even had an experimental stove in Bewitched.
Whoa.
That's coveted. Yeah, it's like a double-decker stove.
Real witchcraft. Oh yeah, it was. Yeah. It was one of those. Yeah, I remember that now.
It was like a super stove of the future, and they're ridiculously coveted now. There's a few people who have found ones that were new old stock in warehouses and installed them in their house, and they're like, I got the Bewitched stove.
Oh, not to tangent even more, but Very Brady renovation. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that I'm rebuild the Stevens' house, go find that stuff. Oh, that would be an amazing. Every year, I just want the cast of a show to rebuild their old set again. I would, or just have the Brady Bunch just go to different houses and turn them into the Brady Bunch houses. I would just want
as a surprise.
Yeah, surprise.
Or using CG, since if we're still in this pandemic in another 10 years and we can't reshoot new shows, we just go back to old shows, use CG so that they all take place in the Brady Bunch house.
Awesome.
There's a book that I was fascinated with that I used to talk about on the show all the time, but I haven't in a while, so I will mention it now. But it was called TV Sets. Have you ever seen that book?
No.
So this guy who's a licensed architect went through and drew blueprints for every TV house, like Mary Tyler Moore's apartment and the Brady house.
I've probably seen excerpts of that if those are the ones that are just online everywhere. Also fans do that too.
Yeah. He did this in the late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, no, this might be, okay, well, I definitely need to find that. Because I my home office, I tried to, when I was moving in here, I was like, I want a Bob Hartley office vibe is what I wanted. So I got a chair that looks a lot like the one he has. I did a lot of brown wood. I also have the the gold bee.
That's why you have that redhead assistant sitting behind.
Yeah, she's back. Be quiet.
Yes.
Flarsha. No,
Mrs.
Flairel.
Krabappel. There's a woman named Mockingbird Designs, I think is her Instagram handle.
Is she the one that does the CG things?
Yes. Yes. The full like walkthrough tours of these recreated 3D homes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is amazing. Like that makes me want to have a VR setup so badly.
Oh, yeah.
But I would never get out. Like I'd just be sitting at the Brady table eating breakfast. I'd never leave.
I got to visit the Fuller House set last year. Right before they were going up to shoot the last season, because through work at Decider, I've done a lot of Fuller House coverage, and
fair enough.
And so I got friendly with the lighting designer, and he was like, "If you're ever in LA, come by." And so I went by, and just seeing the Full House because it is, the same house. It was just so weird to be walking around in it, and how low all the countertops are for some reason. Like they were all just everything was a little bit tinier, which was...
Well, people on that show are tiny.
Yeah.
Although Saget's pretty tall.
Yes.
But yeah, most TV stuff's built smaller. Like I was in the back lot at Paramount in the New York City scene.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing is the buildings are forced perspective. So they actually get smaller as they go up so that they look taller on camera. But when you're standing there, it just looks stupid. Like this looks stupid. But it's perfect on film, but it's a ridiculous design thing that only from, they know the angles that it works.
What I loved about it was the living room and the kitchen in Full House connect through that, there's that little alcovey area back there, which is where the washer dryer is and stuff. And so I had to walk through that. You can go to my Instagram and see, because I think I may saved all these as a story. But it's back there on the walls that aren't even facing cameras are framed photos of the girls and random people who are probably crew members or crew members of family who are supposed to be family members or whatever. But it's just the level of detail of we're literally never going to shoot a scene back here because it is so deep in the set. But it was cool just to see it. It was so wild.
Yeah, it's so bizarre whenever you get to do that. And I went to the outside of the Full House house in San Francisco, which is just used for the church. But even that was weird, and that's just oh yeah, there it is. Very strange.
Yeah. Well, it's seeing, when I first came to New York, when I visited, I had to see, Monk's Cafe. I had to go see the Friends Diner and the Friends Building, and the Friends coffee shop at the bottom and all that. It was just, I don't know. It's well, I guess it just shows what kind of a TV fan I am, because it's just I just want to see. I tried to find the exterior of the WNYX, of the news radio building that they use, because I think it's near Bryant Park, but I don't know if I ever actually found it.
Well, it's funny. It's a lot of the stuff set in New York. Some of the exteriors are in LA, which is funny. Yeah. And the day I discovered that Punky Brewster's apartment building, which is supposed to be Chicago, is just in MacArthur Park in LA.
What? Come on.
It looks exactly the same. And it's just oh yeah, it's all a lie, but I still love it. Yeah. I mean, it's the best. If you could live, if you could just live in any set, but it's real.
Yeah.
What would you go for?
Probably the Hartley's house. Oh, no.
The apartment?
The Dick Van Dyke Show. Well, okay, so if we're talking about apartment, the Hartley's apartment from the Bob Newhart Show is I love that apartment. But if we're talking house, the Dick Van Dyke Show house is just gorgeous.
Because you're a mid-century fan.
Yeah, God. I'm just I'm 36 and I'm just counting down the days when I can retire to Palm Springs. Just be one of those guys. That's just
I want you to do that so I have a place to stay.
God, it's just all I want. But yeah, those two I think are... Mary Tyler Moore's apartment is also very good, but highly impractical because you have to pull out the bed every night. And also the bathroom is through the closet. I do like that it is ridiculously impractical because that's the kind of places you live in when you're single.
But you don't want to live there if you could pick.
No, hell no. It's great design. But wait, what about you? Where would you live?
See, I'm going to go either Addams Family Munster's house.
Oh, God, yeah.
Go with that. If I have to go apartment, I'm going to go with my two dads' apartment.
Oh, man.
Which you got a full 80s loft apartment, with crazy stuff. And I'm not counting Pee-wee's Playhouse because obviously that's everybody's answer, but I'm not going to, because that's not quite as practical, but obviously that, if it's on the list, that's the number one. And then house, I'm going with the full Facts of Life house, including the store.
Wow. God, that's...
Not that I've thought about it.
No. Well, I just realized the Home Improvement house is also very good. I also have, like, I've done Home Improvement episodes on my podcast where I will just talk at length about how much I love that set, because it's like the depth of field in that set is just absolutely insane. It's like the fourth wall, I think, is on a slant, and so, like, it is like you can have scenes in the living room all the way back to the front door.
Yep.
And like the camera's running along this axe, the horizontal whatever axe. It's just great. I don't know. Home Improvement is also just like what my childhood. Well, we'll get into that because I'm sure I'll talk about it when we get to Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever night it was anchoring at this point.
Well, you grew up with a half-built car in your garage. That was
my dad was always grunting and getting electrocuted
with his friend Al.
Yeah, I'm such an Al. I think I wrote I wrote an article about how Al Borland is a gay icon. So everyone,
I mean, that goes without saying.
I wrote a trilogy. I called it like my Home Improvement trilogy because I wrote like Al is a gay icon, Jill is the best TV mom of all time, and Home Improvement was an indictment on toxic masculinity. And those are my like. And once I wrote those three, I was like, I have said my piece.
Yes, I have now done everything I want to do. Now I want to see a show called Home Indictment.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably what if Home Improvement was going to come back.
Yeah,
it might be that.
Yeah. He's just out on house arrest after being busted for coke.
Yeah.
So I think this was your third choice TV guide because I was like, I for some reason can't locate my 97 box. So I went September 21st, 2796, I believe. This is the issue after the fall preview issue.
Yes.
Now, I must say I was very impressed because this is an oft overlooked issue every year.
Oh, the returning favorites?
The returning
people always going for the newbies.
They always want the new stuff. They don't want the old reliables.
Well, I picked this one. Me being the organizer that I am, I went through like all of the shows. I made a list of all the shows that, like, when I think of the time in your life when you discover your own TV, when you've like cut the ties from like your TV is controlled by your parents. And your TV isn't just kids' TV that you're watching. It is actual TV made for adults that you as a tween are discovering yourself, and it's like making your mind blow.
Aspirational adult TV.
Yeah, so I like made a list of all those shows, and then I tried to like find out what the overlap was for the most of them. And I wanted early 97, which is this same TV season, but just mid-season, because that's when Buffy debuts.
Yes.
And even though I didn't start watching Buffy until School Hard, early season 2, I remember that was back when WGN would flip over to the WB at like 7 p.m. or whatever. So when you said you didn't, so then I was like, well, I'll just go back to the fall, and I wanted this one because the Friends episode from this week is, I believe, one of the greatest half hours of television of all time. So
okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're like 12 years old. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Now?
This is September 96, so I am 12.
Yeah. No, I mean right now.
Yeah, I am 12 and a half.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in a time vortex.
That's right.
For some reason, I'm only in 2020. Why this year of all years? Jesus Christ.
Of all the years.
Why would I do this?
That is the Black Mirror that we're stuck in. But that tracks with, like I always say in the show, the sort of sweet spot for everyone is between 8 and 12, usually. Like, that's kind of exactly what you said. It's when you're old enough to have your own taste, but you're not old enough to leave the house to really do anything.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so, like, this is the time... So I'm in 7th grade. We get a computer when I'm in 6th grade. I remember at one point in like middle school, I like opened up Microsoft Paint and then I, with the mouse, recreated the logos of all my favorite shows. And then printed that out and then put it on my door wall. And it was like Talk Soup, Third Rock from the Sun, MST3K, Dharma and Greg. Friends, ER, like that. So like that is, I don't know, when I think of news radio, like when I think of like my favorite shows of that time, it's just like, it's that weird 8.5 by 11 pixelated art that I drew.
In 95, I typed out on Word 95 like my favorite punk rock song lyrics, and then like printed those out on the old inkjet printer. Man. That was like missing some dots, and had those up on my wall.
Cleaned them heads.
Yep.
I was also during this summer religiously obsessed with like VH1's top 10 countdown, and so I would write down the top 10 every week in like a spiral bound notebook and then average them together to see like what songs were actually like by July. What's the best song of 97 so far? Is it going to hold until the end of the year?
Wow.
And then I would also have my own top 10 songs where I would have like, this is in Microsoft Word, and every single day at like 5 o'clock, if I'd heard the song that day on the radio or VH1, because I couldn't watch MTV, it would like go up a spot. If I heard it twice, it would go up 2 spots. Or like it was. I've always been like this, and it's I don't know. I'm glad that I found podcasting because this just scratches all those itches.
Oh yeah, I mean, but a very impressive empirical approach to these sorts of things. That you just, there's no opinion involved. It's just straight numbers.
Yeah, it's like opinion gets you on the list, but then it depends on top 40 after that. And I think.
Do you remember what the number one in your list? The number one Brett White
Closing
song
Time.
of 1990s. Yeah,
Closing Time by
makes sense.
Semisonic, I'm pretty sure was like had the all-time chant. Semisonic is still a good band. Their first 3 albums are very good. Feeling Strangely Fine was their second album. People, get into Great Divide.
See, that year I worked in a t-shirt printing, screen printing place, and we had this like adult contemporary top 40 radio that was on nonstop in there. And the song I remember all the time. Any guess? It's not Closing Time.
The Way by Fastball.
No, but you're kind of you're close. It's
Iris by
it's
Goo
not
Goo Dolls.
Nope, and it's not the Eels either. That was going to be your next guess.
I don't know.
The Freshman by the Verve
God,
Pipe.
I loved the but I loved the music video edit of that song where he got very angry. Because I think that was also the radio single, but like the album version was like mellow, and I was like, I don't like this. I want him when he gets angry.
Yeah.
I remember I used to get very mad at how the top 40 radio in Tennessee would cut off Third Eye Blind's How It's Gonna Be before Stephen Jenkins got really like,
Oh, yeah.
I want to feel the song. Oh, yeah, like very. And I was like, no, that's the best part of the song. How can you cut that off?
Yeah, that there was a lot of Third Eye Blind as well. God. That I recall, yeah.
Love that.
Jumper.
That first album. Also, Blue, like the second album. I was the kind of person that, like, if I loved your first album, I was going to get that second album. Nothing was going to keep me from it. I was going to get it, and I was probably going to love it.
That's brand loyalty.
Yeah.
That's brand loyalty.
And I
It's
never
just,
understood. I was like, Semisonic released a new album called Chemistry. The song is very good. I don't understand why no one cared. I think Fastball's Harsh Light of Day is better than All the Pain Money Can Buy. I feel like I'm just doing my best Dave Holmes impression.
No, I won't. I will not stand for Flagpole Sitta, though.
Wait,
that
you don't like Flagpole Sitta?
No.
Is this a slight generational rift?
It could be. Like, I didn't like a lot of, yeah.
Because, like,
anything that was trying to be, like, irreverent.
Yeah,
in
there
that
you go.
era. So, like, you know, you get what you give, New Radicals.
Oh, I love that song, too.
Yeah,
Because he was gonna kick all their asses.
Yeah, I'm like, are you now?
I mean, like, but now I've also found that in 2020, when I go karaokeing with my coworkers and stuff, I will find that my high school and college years spent as an extreme music snob has permanently affected how I view the pop music of 98 to 2006, where they will unironically play like Mr. Brightside or Skater Boy, and they all have like fond memories of it, and I'm just like, I hate the Killers.
Yeah.
I still hate the Killers. I don't mind. It's like I don't mind the Killers now, but I firmly hated them then because they were, in my mind, it's just like they're just ripping off the Strokes, which were my band. I loved the Strokes.
You were a Strokes guy.
Yeah. So it is weird. It's so I do wonder if Flagpole Sitta is like that kind of thing, because that hit me when I was in middle school. I think like 8th, 9th grade, and so like that is the right age to be like, holy shit, this song rips.
Yeah, it's on that same list I put like the Presidents of the United States of America.
Yeah.
Like that kind of like,
No.
Little too silly for me. Speaking of silly, I do want to mention that so when I scan these TV guides, I like spread them out so that on the front cover you see the front and back at the same time, which I mentioned because the back cover is a cigarette ad. Which is not unusual for TV Guide. But I will say every issue of TV Guide, I swear to God, there's like 3 different cigarettes and they're different every issue. That leads me to believe there's like at least 200,000 cigarette brands.
Yeah.
And this one is for a cigarette brand called Basic, which I've never heard of in my life.
What a bad, that brand name would not fly. Although, there are people trying to get vintage merch Because a basic like a t-shirt that just has that basic logo on it is so ironic. That would be great.
And so Basic's tagline is, it tastes good, it costs less, which is just also not that ambitious. But this ad is, it says your basic night at the movies. And it's a bowl of popcorn, a videotape that is clearly a bootleg, although I don't think they meant for it to look like one, for a film that they've called Light Up the Night, and a pack of cigarettes. And the bowl of popcorn is also clearly a serving for one person.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh yeah. It's a tiny little. It looks like when you go to the Looks like when you go to the baseball game and they give you the ice cream scoop and the tiny little helmet.
The little helmet. Yeah,
that's what it looks like, but for ice cream. Yeah.
So I'm just picturing this person watching this like movie no one's heard of on a bootleg cassette that's not even in a case, eating popcorn for one and smoking
indoors,
discount cigarettes.
Yeah, that's a basic ass night.
There really is.
I mean, they got it right. They know the brand. They know the target audience.
Basic night at the movies. That is one of the saddest things I've ever seen. Also, I want to mention as I go through the contents here, Nancy Travis is returning on Almost Perfect, which was a show that was very good.
Oh, wait, that's Nancy Travis? That's not Sybil Shepherd?
No, it's Nancy Travis.
It looks like Sybil Shepherd. Wow.
Well, this was the 96 when they blew everyone out with light.
I know.
So everybody's skin has no features.
Yeah. Like, this is the most smooth I've ever seen Jerry Seinfeld's face. Like, Jerry Seinfeld and Terry Hatcher, same level of beauty here.
Oh, yeah. It's all just like, let's crank up the brightness all the way so that we just see eyes and mouths. People don't have noses anymore.
Yeah, Terry Hatcher's looking like Michael Jackson, to be honest. Like, as very, I'm doing the apology interview with Diane Sawyer realness.
Or if you go on like page 6 here, it's Valerie Bertinelli. And I, if you just showed me that photo, I could not tell you who that was.
She looks like a ghost.
I'm like, Nicole Kidman? Is it Melissa Joan Hart?
No.
I had no idea. No, Caroline Ray? I don't know who this person is.
No. Is that also opposite page, more cigarettes? Right?
Yeah, for a cigarette called Doral. Doral? You'd go Doral?
I don't know. Doral?
This one says, so this one's almost, I wonder if Doral and Basic were competitors, because this one says, Doral doesn't stop at savings.
Oh, yeah, they're just like, we got a copy of the Basic ad, we've got to get them.
Yep, and then the weirdest thing here, it says, premium taste guarantee, and then there's a little asterisk, which is hilarious, but then it says, bonus coupons, a free carton for 70 packs, and then my favorite thing, smokers' rights information.
Oof. So, I just realized, pretty soon, if the world ever gets back to normal, I bet you some upstart streaming service is going to try to make a big splash by doing a prestige drama about, like, the cigarette wars of, like, the 80s.
I think so.
I feel like it, right? Like, just because smoking is such a taboo, I don't smoke and I don't like smoking, but I also am like knee-jerk, like, it is fully ridiculous how weirdly panicky all TV is about smoking. Like, when you watch any movie on Netflix, it's like, warning, violence, foul language, terror, smoking, and it's like, okay, one of these is not like the other.
And I don't think they do that for like heroin use.
No, like, it's just like, so I'm wondering, like, if like the pendulum is going to swing the other way, and like Crackle's going to be like, we need to get in on this. We need to do a drama about smoking. Although Crackle is now owned by Chicken Soup for the Soul, so they probably wouldn't do that.
That's not going to happen. And then this is a thing that I don't recall, and I'm on page 6 here, but it says, seen together, X-Files star David Duchovny and movie star Winona Ryder, both off-screen and soon perhaps on X-Files cast and crew, confirmed that the couple were in the talk. So one thing, I had no idea there were a couple.
No.
Also, she definitely didn't appear on X-Files.
Absolutely
so
not.
That never happened. And this is the only reference I could find to them dating. But
the other reference is in the X-Files section of returning favorites. They call back to that. Well, when did he start getting with Tay Leone? Because I mean, like, Naked Truth is on TV at this point, right?
Yeah, that was after that. So Tay Leone was like 98, I want to say.
Okay. Oh, because he was just like, we need to move X-Files to California so I can be with Taya.
That's right. That's right. And then I'm just going to quit.
Yeah, and then I'm just going to like
we can have Robert
quit.
Patrick.
And then, oh boy, those last 2 seasons are interesting.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to watch the butt
Watch the butt.
the butt demon episode starring Deep Roy.
Yeah. Yeah.
as a butt demon that crawls
Yeah.
up people's butts.
And I wonder if Deep Roy pitched that. Like he wrote that episode. They were like, we got
That
boy.
episode is truly wild.
Yeah, that is wow. So let's jump in here before we get to the actual schedule and we go night by night. Is there any returning favorites you wanted to point to, or do you want to just go through with the listings?
So like just a general note, because I skimmed through all of these returning favorites, and having the job that I have now, where I'm a senior reporter producer for Decider.com, so my job is to do this basically, but the online version of this, and I've had to put together the how to stream literally every new returning fall show and every new fall show. I've had to do that a bunch, but reading through this, I was just like, how many people did it take to put this, because this is insane. I mean, they have the stats. It's something like 30 something returning shows, and it's just a lot of numbers, and there are only writing credits for the big feature pieces. So there's only every day, Saturday has, and then it has a little Rick something as the, and so it just boggled my mind to think of just all of the how did you get screeners in 1996? How did you get access to press photos? That stuff.
Well, there's another fascinating thing here is all these marquee shows and the returning favorites. These photos are TV Guide photo shoots that they've done for one photo in this thing, but clearly was an all-day photo shoot.
Oh yeah, because the Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman is a still, but the Married with Children one, it looks like they're it's like they're driving to the shoot on Bare Naked Ladies one week. That is where they are driving to, or it's a bizarre, what is oh god, what's the son's name? David Faustino. What is that crushed velvet blue shirt?
Faustino's dressed like is Stephen Jeffries from Third Eye Blind.
Yeah.
He's full on with the rings and the little puka shell necklace and all that. And then Katie Sagal looks amazing, but is literally dressed exactly like Morticia Addams.
Oh wow! Oh god, and she would be such a great Morticia Addams.
Amazing. And then you got, Christina Applegate's looking like full on Joey Lauren Adams in Chasing Amy.
And she's also doing that 1996 raccoon eyeliner of just I'm just going in.
Yeah.
So it's wild.
It's weird.
I did love the come on, scroll.
There's a couple shows where you're scrolling that all these shows I've heard of, that I'm like, oh yeah, that Married with Children went on forever, Coach went on, Walker Texas Ranger, Dr. Quinn, and then I'm like, Second Noah?
Yeah. Wait, there was someone notable on Second Noah.
Well, and a guest star that season, Tony Bennett plays himself.
James Marsden. Oh, Tony Bennett. Yeah, James Marsden was on. That's who it was.
Yeah.
Doing the job that I do, every day I am looking at people's IMDb's and just having what's the credit? Today I had to write about the cast of The Right Stuff on Disney Plus, and it's okay, what shows are all these people from? And so I feel like I've seen James Marsden's Second Noah a lot in my life lately.
Oddly, they go The Romantic Life of Ricky, and then it says Teen Hunk James Marsden.
Oh, teen. I mean, this is 4 years before Cyclops.
And then I nailed this with Joey Lauren Adams because it says, first, his flighty former girlfriend, Darlie, played by Joey Lauren Adams.
She's the hot it girl.
She's the quintessential late 90s actress.
I also love the special attention the Jeff Foxworthy show gets. It gets an anchor slot in the Monday write-up. Steph McDonald, interviewed Jeff Foxworthy for it. Because this is the thing that I don't know how regional it was, but Jeff Foxworthy in 1995, because he got super huge because 96 came out, he did Games Rednecks Play, which was the, because the Olympics were going to Atlanta, so we had a whole bit about that. Being from Tennessee, Jeff Foxworthy was God. I mean, God was God, to anyone else be God would be sacrilege, but I mean, just everyone you knew had it, everyone you know could do, I can rattle off probably a dozen you might be redneck jokes. I will not.
I even can, and I'm a snob from Boston.
Yeah, so I didn't know, like, was he really that? Because it was insane how huge he was.
I mean, I don't think he was as huge as he was in Tennessee, I can guarantee you. But, like, if somebody were to name a stand-up comedian in 1996, they'd be like... No, and the people who weren't like George Carlin, like a current day one, they would be like, oh, Jerry Seinfeld, Jeff Foxworthy.
Roseanne. Yeah, like Jeff Foxworthy is. And so, but this is like his show has been canceled by ABC, gone to NBC. They recast the wife, kept Haley Joel Osment, and then we're like, no, we need another precocious kid. Jonathan Lipnicki, get in here. Like, it's just
Which is too much. That's like a tag team of that. Yeah. It's too much.
And I remember I watched it. I watched season 1. I watched season 2. They're both now streaming on Peacock, and at some point... if they have holiday episodes, I will be watching those this year because that's what I do.
If your father drives you to school because you're in the same grade. That one, yeah.
If your mom keeps a spit cup on the ironing board.
If your friend asks you to help him move and you have to help him take the wheels off his house.
If you get pulled over by a cop and the cop asks you for your ID and you show him your belt buckle.
Yeah, that was a good...
Yeah.
I found that my Dr. Phil impression and my Jeff Foxworthy impression are the same.
They are very similar. What else? I also liked... there was another... I think when you get to like the syndicated stuff is where shit gets wild. Like,
I do want to mention the Roseanne photo they have in here is literally the whole cast... supposed to be naked. I don't know if they're all totally naked, but they're shirtless, let's say, all in the same bed together.
DJ. For some reason, that feels very icky. Because he's a little boy. He's not a little. He's like
DJ is weird,
14.
And the fact that Laurie Metcalf's in there is weird.
Right next to him. I do love this. The quotes from Roseanne are like accurate because she's like, we've been serious all this time. We're just gonna go crazy this year. And it's like, season 9 of Roseanne. Yeah, that is one of the most surreal. There is a full-on Steven Seagal style action movie episode where Roseanne just beats up a bunch of terrorists on a train to Washington. And it's not funny. It's not a comedy. It's serious.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Nutty episode.
If you can do it, do it. So let's scroll down to the syndicated thing. That's where we go. Oh, Almost Perfect. I do want to say that show was good.
Oh, I don't remember Almost Perfect. Wait, what network was that?
I believe it was NBC.
Okay, well, I should have known that.
Yeah, let me see. No, CBS.
Okay, that's why.
CBS.
Yeah.
Yep. It was CBS trying to do a very NBC-like show. Because it's very much like Caroline in the City and Suddenly Susan and Friends. But I find Nancy Travis ridiculously likable.
Yeah, I loved her on the Kaminsky Method. I was like, the Kaminsky Method is where I know her from recently. Which, how they're gonna do that show without Alan Arkin? Go for it. But isn't she also on The Ranch and Last Man Standing?
Yeah, that's the thing. She's on Last Man Standing and has been forever. But she, and she makes a very good living. I don't think she's anyone who people know her name necessarily.
I literally always thought she was a country music artist.
Yeah, no, she's from Boston.
Because the name Nancy Travis is very like Winona Judd, Reba McEntire, and Nancy Travis.
You're thinking Randy Travis.
Yeah, that's it.
I do want to mention the John Larroquette Show is back for its second season, which is a retooled season and is terrible.
Is that not so? Like season 1 was him at the bus, like Port Authority. Was that okay?
Same with season 2, but they made a bunch of changes. So season 1 was very dark. He's a recovering alcoholic. He's the night manager of this bus station. It was shot on film.
Yes.
It had like a real like 70s vibe to it. Season 2, they put him in the daytime. They got rid of the prostitute character.
No.
And it was now shot on video.
So that is like, this is like me going back and watching all these old sitcoms, and I fully do not understand that switch to video. Like, you watch like Mary Tyler Moore Show and Cheers, and it's like, this is beautiful. This is art. It is lit. It is gorgeous. It looks cinematic. It looks true to life. And then you watch, unfortunately, like Golden Girls, one of my favorite shows, or like Full House, or Alf, or like any of those 80s shows, and it's just like, this just looks so bad. And I don't understand why anyone would choose that over film.
Well, it's financial.
Yeah,
it's
cheap.
financial straight up. Because so Newhart season 1, the only way they got that made is they shot it on video the first season. Knowing that if they got a second season, then they'd switch to film.
That first season looks rough too.
It's jarring.
I do like that. I have Newhart on DVD, and then DVDs come with a disclaimer up front that say this has been remastered from the best possible. Like, don't write us. Don't we know?
Yeah.
And it's like it looks fine. I don't know.
It's such a good show.
It's
like,
good.
Who cares what that show
good.
looks like?
I do say this is also when Craig Ferguson joins Drew Carey Show this year.
Yes.
Which I noted.
Which is he was a really weird casting choice because he was a pretty obscure, weird alt comic.
Oh.
From the UK. He's Scottish, obviously. He was in a punk rock band with Peter Capaldi when they were younger.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he used to do a character called Elvis Hitler that was Elvis and Hitler as one person. He would do this comedy character.
That sounds like a Drew Carey Show plot, to be honest.
That's true.
That show is...
That's true.
I love Drew Carey Show.
I did too.
Loved it.
So funny, but it doesn't hold up that well.
You can't. Season 1 is in iTunes, and I can't find anything else.
Well, MeTV was showing them, and Laugh.
Oh,
was
man.
Showing them every night,
I mean, I only watched the first 5 or 6 seasons, but that show went on.
It went on forever.
Way longer than anyone. That show went on past 9/11, y'all. Like, it was on until 2003 or something.
Yeah.
It went on 9 or 10 years.
That was insane. When we get to syndication, he's not listed. The show's not listed, but the first photo we see, Kevin Sorbo, Hercules.
Oh, wow. And they don't even write about it?
They do later, but not right where he is.
Okay.
So they do it alphabetically. So it's Babylon 5, then Baywatch.
And then Baywatch Nights, which I want to watch so bad.
You've not seen it?
When it first aired, I remember watching an episode, but I think it was a season 1 episode, so therefore not what you want to see. What you want to see is what it describes right here, which is watch out, X-Files.
Yep.
What did Baywatch need? Monsters. And yes, it does.
Yeah.
And I want to watch this so bad.
This says, from Speedos to Weirdos, faster than you can say beach blanket zombie.
That's my life. I just want that on a shirt. Just put that phrase on a shirt, please.
Yep. It says this sees Mitch in search of, depending on which episode you catch, a genetically mutated female fugitive, an ancient New Guinea cannibal demon, or a lady vampire. So some American hero edited together all of the 30-second next time on Baywatch Nights into one supercut on YouTube. So it's like 20 minutes of just season 2, 30-second promos for every episode. And it gets crazier and crazier as you go through. And it is amazing.
I will say I love the Nights. I love that brand of spin-off titling, which I think that Baywatch Nights the only one that's done that?
Yeah, I feel like After Dark.
Yeah, I love Nights. Give me where's Star Trek Nights?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I would love
I think we could have so many Full House Nights.
Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers Nights.
That photo from Roseanne looks like Roseanne Nights.
Oh yes. Yeah. It is also just all of these shows have the feeling, just reading the titles of Babylon 5, Lazarus Man, it makes me feel like it is Saturday, it is 4 p.m., it is 4 p.m., 5 p.m. Eastern or whatever, and I'm flipping, and there's Xena. That's what it feels like to me. It's so...
There's a show here I've never heard of before called High Tide. And it says, the brothers Barrett, played by Rick Springfield and Yannick Bissum, sell their La Jolla surf shop and move to the Santa Barbara estate of a wealthy widow, played by Deborah Shelton. Of course, the change is only suntan deep since the Magnum wannabes still prowl the beach, solve crimes, drive fast cars, meet beautiful women, and of course, surf.
I love the clear contempt in that Magnum wannabes is such I have written 30 of these blurbs and I am just, honestly, go to any site at the end of the year, because the end of the year is just lists ahoy, and it's blurb apocalypse. We all dread it. And so it's just like, I have to write another blurb about how good Stranger Things was this year. Oh my God. It gets like,
how many times can we say it?
And it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
And then the next page is the cable.
Yes, which Winona Ryder headlining the paragraph about Dr. Katz.
Yes.
She's getting around this season.
I didn't watch, so I didn't have HBO, so like couldn't watch those. Now the Nickelodeon, like I loved Space Cases and Secret World of Alex Mack. That was my jam. And I love making silk stockings jokes.
Yeah.
That's a very specific. Oh, Renegade. I didn't see Renegade down there. My sister loved Renegade.
Oh, yeah. My favorite thing about Renegade, and a lot of people forget this, is that Lorenzo Lamas' character was named Reno.
Was his last name Gade?
Yeah. And they're talking about in this season, they have guest appearances by Arlo Guthrie.
Oh, wow.
And Frankie Avalon.
Oh, wait. Mickey Dolenz was in Pacific Blue this season.
Oh, yeah. He directed a bunch of episodes.
Oh, wow. Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, USA was nuts. Wait, when was what was the Up All Night? Was that USA?
That was USA.
Okay.
So that replaced Night Flight in 1987. They did Up All Night. And then they started producing a lot of original movies.
Yeah.
And the first original content they started doing was they had like Duckman, Weird Science.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they bought a bunch of shows that had been canceled from other networks, and then like The Hitchhiker and Silk Stockings, and then it all culminated in Swamp Thing and USA High.
Swamp Thing was my jam. For that one, was that like 90? Whenever the cartoon hit. The cartoon that lasted 6 episodes but launched so many toys that I had all of. And I loved that live action show. I watched it all the time, even though I don't remember a literal thing about it because I was
terrible.
like 6.
It's terrible. There was 2 shows that were awful, but were kept in production for one very specific weird reason. And the 2 shows are Swamp Thing and Superboy, the syndicated Superboy show. And the reason they were kept in production is because Universal Studios Florida needed shows produced in Florida that people could watch shoot when they went on studio tours. And that is literally why those 2 shows kept in production, because they'd be like, you'll see we're shooting the hit series Swamp Thing.
A hit because we need it to be.
Yeah, we got to shoot something in Florida.
The same actor that played Swamp Thing in the show played him in the movies as well.
Dick Dietrick.
Right, yes. I knew the name was like, that is a Marvel Comics 60s name.
Yeah, he was a 6'7" stunt guy, and he didn't get to do his own voice in either the Wes Craven one or the Jim Wynorski Return of, but he got to do his own voice in the series.
Good.
And that was
good. I'm glad that Universal kept that show going.
Yep. Do not bring your evil here.
Oh man.
Yeah, it looked cool. Also, they have a really small blurb about Mr. Show getting its 2nd season. And the big thing they talk about is Jeannie Triplehorn being in it because she's in 1 episode. And Dave Foley making a guest appearance, which is kind of hilarious. Yeah.
The big get. I mean, hey, News Radio is still kicking. And News Radio is like peak at this point. Well, peak creatively, not in the ratings.
That's true. It never really did well in the ratings. So let's dive in. Saturday, what are you doing?
So... Let me get... So, like, this is still, for me, Saturday morning cartoon time. I'm 12. But only because, so, Spider-Man comes on at 9:30 a.m. Had to watch that. 11 a.m. is X-Men and The Tick. Like, X-Men Tick back to back. So, like, I didn't recognize a lot of these Saturday morning cartoons because I was, 12, had better things to do. I had no friends, but I still, but I did watch X-Men. And this is a weird episode because it's the Cyclops orphan origin story, which this is well past X-Men's prime. And it's also where they stopped airing them in script order. They are, if you ever do an X-Men rewatch, this is just a hacker tip or whatever, watch them in script order, which is listed on Wikipedia. Like there's a script number order, because if you do that, it makes sense. And if you don't, you'll get episodes that were meant for season 3 and season 5. And then it's just like all of a sudden Jean Grey's dead again. What is this? And it makes no sense.
Yeah, there's a bunch of cartoons that I actually used to watch at this time too. You get the Felix the Cat cartoon, which was really crazy, and just was didn't fit in with 1996, but was sort of ahead of its time. Street Sharks and that sort of stuff, and Saved by the Bell: The New Class, which was my preferred Saved by the Bell.
I if it was live action on Saturday morning, I wanted nothing to do with it. I was like,
no city guys, no hang time.
Like, this is cartoon time. Excuse me.
I think that's fair.
I would only watch the live action stuff when I was at my cousin's house in like the summer and stuff, and they were like super into TNBC and stuff. As long as we could. X-Men was my first ever appointment television. Like when that debuted, it literally changed my life. The season 1 is still fucking perfect. Still to this day, the ideal X-Men movie is you watch the first 3 episodes of season 1 and then the season finale. Those 4 episodes are the perfect X-Men movie. Just shoot it live action, Marvel. You'll fix a lot. You'll do a lot.
If you want to get rid of Morph, feel free.
No, Morph is great. Have him. Oh God, who would play Morph? No, I don't know.
I don't know who you would get to play Morph because I'm trying to think of someone younger.
Young and annoying.
Yeah.
That also you want to kill.
Yeah.
Pete Davidson.
Oh, God, yeah, that'd be good.
Pete Davidson would be a good Morph. But then I noted MTV starting at noon is a fucking Real World marathon.
Oh, yeah, which was every Saturday, by the way.
And they're gearing up to air. Boston is about to start, or Miami. Miami's airing.
Boston had already started. So Real World always started new seasons in June, which was smart because it was when kids were out of school, so you could stay up at 10 o'clock on a Thursday. I think they aired new episodes.
Oh, right, yeah, it was always summer, yeah.
Yeah. And so they would start marathoning them, and then every Saturday, it was just like 6 episodes in a row.
Yeah, this is the Miami season because the new episode that airs on Wednesday night has one of the greatest Real World quotes of all time. And I was so stoked. Who
was the Russian girl that was in that season who was just annoying as hell?
Oh, Flora, right? Flora, whose boobs broke the window. When they were trying to peek in on was it his name
Melissa?
Mike? Melissa having a threesome in the
Mike
shower?
and Melissa, it's some chick, and this Miami was the year that they had that girl who worked at Image Comics,
and she was like, I want our business to be we just make the swimsuits from the swimsuit special, but make them real. And she was friends with nothing but 12-year-old skaters.
Yeah. What a weirdo.
God,
it looked like she was the worst undercover teenager ever.
Yeah, well, yeah, she dressed like a teenage boy. She dressed like Alex Mack.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
But like the prime time though is where I'm a Snick guy. Even though I feel like we gotta talk about Dark Sky as a show I definitely should have watched because looking at the ad for it and stuff in the TV guide.
It's a cool show. It's great.
Is it? Okay. I might have watched an episode because I loved X-Files at this point.
It takes place in 1961 around the Roswell crash, and it's all set in the 60s. So it's like 60s set conspiracy theory, JFK, X-Files with Megan Ward in it, and
Eric Close.
Speaking of Mad Men, it's like X-Files Mad Men.
That is 2 of my favorite shows mixed together. Why didn't I watch it? I should go back and watch Dark Skies now.
Nobody watched it, by the way. It was at least 10 years ahead of its
time. It was on CBS too, right?
Yeah.
Which is also like, what do you do? Like. CBS in the 90s to me had the grandparents watch it, I don't touch it. Like I did not. It was like a religious conviction. Like I did not watch CBS.
Well, no one did. The thing that saved CBS was Survivor in the early 2000s.
Yep. Yeah.
And so in the mid to late 90s, CBS was so desperate for anything. They were the biggest guilty party of ripping off formats from the other networks, which is why we get that Nancy Travis show, which is very NBC. We get this Dark Sky show, which is very Fox. Like they just were trying any new format to see if it would work because their only hits were literally Dr. Quinn, Touched by an Angel, and Walker Texas Ranger.
Yeah, they were weird. So I would like the Snick lineup at this time is Secret World of Alex Mack, Space Cases, all that, and Pete, which is like. Yeah.
See, for me, I'm only a Pete and Pete. I had a crush on Alex Mack, but other than that.
Oh, yeah, I loved all of them. I still, will listen to the Polaris soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
Because they are a great band. And that music is very good, very fall. I also loved all that because I was in 7th grade, so of course I did.
Yeah.
I thought that Amanda Bynes was hilarious.
Yeah.
I loved Good Burger. You better believe I saw Good Burger in the theater.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I didn't want so, but the big T is the big deal for me is the Nick at Night lineup. So like Nick at Night, just in general, is what I am doing every single night. And that lineup, I remember specifically, I Love Lucy, then the Lucy Desi Comedy Hour. Like, that was event TV in my household. Like, Saturday nights, I would watch it, get into bed with my parents. We would watch Lucy and Lucy Desi. I loved the Lucy Desi Comedy Hour. It felt like an event. Ugh.
There's a show on that you may or may not remember. It's on at 10 o'clock called Nightstand with Dick. I forget what the character's name was, but it was the guy who played Parker Lewis's dad, and it was like a fake talk show.
Yeah.
And that was on this year. It was like very short-lived.
What, isn't he also the guy
funny.
that did the Son of a Beach? Yeah, it was like the Baywatch parody. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
He was also in an episode of Golden Girls. Yeah, he just has that face. Like, he's like Larry Miller to me. Of just like, he's just like that dude who you don't know what you know him from.
Well, he's a writer, performer. This episode I actually distinctly remember. It's pretty funny. A woman urges her sister to leave a right-wing militia compound, and Dick questions the main suspects in the murder of 6 comedians at a comedy club called the Tickle Bin.
Wait, what station is this?
It was syndicated.
Okay.
So in Boston here, it was on Channel 50, and it was less than a season. I have a bunch of them on DVD in there.
I remember it existing.
Put on YouTube.
I also want, like, so in general, my Saturday is because this is the one year that MST through K is off. Like, this is the year it is between
before it
Comedy
went to
Central and
Sci-Fi.
Sci-Fi. So Sci-Fi is where I started because we didn't have Comedy Central when I was a kid. And the very first one I watched, I think, was The Lagoon.
Revenge of the Creature.
Yeah, Revenge of the Creature, I think it was the first one.
Return to the Creature. Yeah, that's the first episode of the Sci-Fi Channel.
And that one, like, because it would come on at midnight on Saturdays. And MS3 is the perfect, I have a TV in my bedroom. My parents think I'm asleep. It's midnight. What the hell is this? And that just like...
Yeah.
So I wanted to shout out MS23K. And then also John Henson Talk Soup, which is my Talk Soup. Which is also, I don't think E is in this TV guide.
It is, but it doesn't list the programming. Because when E first started, which was I think 93, I want to say, it mostly just showed trailers for movies. And there weren't really shows. It was more like TV Guide Channel. Like,
Yeah.
it was like some content around like free press kit stuff, basically.
I love Talk Soup. Also changed my life and like did a lot of like my comment. I mean, a lot of it is incredibly problematic now. But that's what all
the shows they were talking about was.
Oh yeah. So, but you know, I just loved that those Saturdays. I didn't have friends, like I said. TV was my friend.
No, many of us didn't. And I will say, I started watching Talk Soup because I loved Greg Kinnear because he hosted a show on Fox called The Best of the Worst.
Oh,
that was very short lived, and it was like a sort of a talk show news magazine show that was about like terrible things. So they like went to the Museum of Failed Products, and they went to, like, it was just really fun, weird show.
That's out of its time too.
Yeah. Oh, it was like 4 or 5 years ahead of its time. That's a good Saturday night.
Did you note the thing on page 113 that
Let me go back.
I am going to be tracking down
The
NBC
limited
collectible
edition
pins?
pin set? Yep.
I need literally all of those.
Deluxe limited edition box pin set.
They're also like, it's $70, or you can get them framed and it's $130. And I would love to do an interview with literally anyone out there that bought the framed version of the NBC. Like, who in 1996 is loving NBC that much that they're like,
So to describe it to people, it's basically 7 pins. Each pin is of NBC's various logos over the years. So all the way back to the original one, the 70s one. And it's actually really cool. They're this is the kind of thing they would have given to someone who worked at NBC for like their 10 years with the company kind of thing.
Yeah, it feels like we had a lot of these left over.
Yeah.
Give them away to weirdos like me that want, but like, because I love pins. I have a vintage Cheers enamel pin that is like a little beer stein with like the logo on it that I don't know who made it, but I love it.
That was from the gift shop at the store. Yeah, at the original Cheers.
It's so good. But yeah, I want this. I want it so bad. It's a limited to 10,000, so hopefully there's still
only 10,000, which means you only have 70,000 pins total. Let's see. I'm looking on eBay right now, just out of curiosity, see if any of them are up there. No. When I put in NBC, do you know what it thinks I mean?
Oh, no.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
No,
so it's just giving me all these Nightmare Before Christmas pin sets.
There's only one NBC in my heart.
Yeah, let me see. I'm just going to check one more thing here because I'm really curious. We have the Olympic NBC lapel pins from 88 all the way up to 2000. But no. I
will
see
find
one
them.
of these.
Do I not? I feel like I do have a vintage satin jacket.
Oh, I got it. Wow.
Oh God, how much?
You know, what would you guess?
Oh no, $300.
There's one going for $18.
Oh, just one pin for $18?
No. The set for $18.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Okay. Well,
I should mention it's not the framed one.
Okay. Well,
it's the boxed one.
I also don't understand the point of framing pins. You want to wear them?
I guess you want to display them.
I guess the point. I don't know. Where do I even wear lapel pins anymore? It's fine. Everything's fine.
Well, so don't bid on this. I'm going to bid on this set for you. And we'll see if we can get you one. Because someone I know needs to own this.
Yes.
But they are pretty cool.
Yeah, I have brand loyalty to NBC, as we'll see going ahead.
Yeah. You were saying you had an NBC satin
I have an NBC satin jacket from like the 80s or whatever. It's like black and has the peacock on the back. Peacock! Also, I'll say it, good streaming service.
I will say I have issues with, because I'm a big Saturday Night Live nerd.
Oh, they just put them all up. Did they not?
No,
what did they do?
Well, they did, but so an SNL episode without commercials runs 65 minutes.
Right, yeah. Right? So a lot of them are like 30 to 40.
25 minutes.
Good.
27 minutes.
Clear all them rights to like...
But to what? There's no rhyme or reason to what they cut out of stuff. It's the
black hole of Tangled.
But I do have a 1984 satin SNL cast jacket.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So Sunday, what'd you do?
I will say this is the year that killed my fandom of Lois and Clark: New Adventures of Superman, because they put it up against Third Rock from the Sun. Correct? Yes. And Third Rock from the Sun, similar to News Radio, where those were like the shows, then like network shows that like really just blew my mind and shaped my taste. I had a Harry Solomon shirt where he's like doing his like message thing and it says incoming message from the big giant head. I had that. I had the like commemorative like companion book to Third Rock from the Sun that came with a mobile that I had in my bedroom. So I was definitely watching that. Although I did want to note, of course, America's Funniest Home Videos coming on at 7 before primetime starts officially. You got it.
Yeah, which was the only thing you could counter program 60 Minutes with.
Yeah, which is the opposite. Just throw people getting nut shots.
Yeah. It was as highbrow as 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
Was lowbrow. Yeah, and this was when Saget had left. They had
Bergeron?
Daisy Fuentes.
Oh, Daisy Fuentes, yes.
Daisy Fuentes
and John
Fugelsang, and they ska punked up the theme song.
Well, the ska trend was just before the swing trend, right? Like that's
other way around.
Oh, really?
Well, sort of.
Or were they concurrent? I'm trying to when was that Gap khakis had?
Yeah. Well, a lot of the bands that became swing bands were bad ska punk bands. True. Like, for example, the band with the worst offensive name I've heard.
Oh,
the Cherry Poppin' Daddies.
Yeah, and because like Squirrel Nut Zippers, those are just 3 random words.
But they're a great band, and a squirrel nut. Do you know what a squirrel nut zipper is?
No, is it dirty? Of course.
Oh yeah. Let me show you. No, it's a candy.
Oh.
It's an old fashioned candy that's still made to this day in Boston.
That makes sense. I also wanted to point out that this is the frog eating season of Lois and Clark, because they've gotten married and they're on their honeymoon, and this is the season that ends with her eating the frogs, revealing that she's a clone.
Yeah,
which
this is bad.
Which has stuck with me all these years. Also bad is Dean Cain. Dean Cain, you canceled.
Yeah. Oh, Dean Cain once told me two funny things about Dean Cain. One, he told me he doesn't believe CTE is a real thing.
Cool.
Because he played some football in college, and he's fine.
He's totally fine.
And my friend Mark Gallagher, who's been on the show, and along with my friend Nick Chambers, who is very funny and a musical genius, we all did a comic convention once, and Dean Cain was one of the guests. And so Mark did a fake live podcast for a podcast called The Caniacs. And the premise was they've been doing this podcast where they only love season 2 of Lois and Clark. And it's just about how much they love season 2 of Lois and Clark. So they did a live version of this, which is not a real show, by the way. And Dean Cain's sitting at his table just horrified, because they're doing the minutia of all the different things. And then at the end, they were like, all right, we always close with the theme song. And none of this was planned. And so Nick gets up and he starts singing a version of I Get By With a Little Help from My Friends called I Dean a Little Cain with My Friends. And everyone in the crowd started singing along. And Dean Cain was so confused because he was like kind of terrified and also like a little bit honored.
Well, also the CTE, you know.
Yeah, and the CTE. And it was one of my favorite moments in life.
God. So as we are approaching the holiday season, I just want to PSA, if you ever find a Christmas movie that stars Dean Cain, just as a rule, don't watch it.
Yeah.
He stars in exclusively the worst, and I've watched all of them.
He really never did anything good. And interestingly, both Third Rock from the Sun and Lois and Clark, those are two shows that nobody cares about now.
Oh, people should.
No one rewatches them.
I do.
They have like no cult fan base. Like they were both very popular shows.
Third Rock from the Sun definitely should, because I've watched a lot of it recently. Like I still, well, every holiday season's like I watch the Halloween, Christmas, and Thanksgiving episodes, and the fucking Thanksgiving episode where it is Jan Hooks and French Stewart like making out with a turkey on their heads is so like Jan Hooks should have won an Emmy for that. Like she's so good in it, and that show is still so funny. Kirsten Johnston deserves so much more than she's gotten. Although I understand that she's like, a regular on Mom now, which is a show that I don't watch. So she is actually doing just fine.
Yeah. Well, Third Rock from the Sun has my favorite ever Twilight Zone joke.
Oh, what's that?
So the big head, they eventually, when they revealed who it was William Shatner.
Yes.
And as people know, the episode Nightmare at 40,000
Yeah.
feet. So Shatner starred in the original one on Twilight Zone, and then Lithgow starred in the version in the Twilight Zone movie. And the joke is, Lithgow goes, "I'm sorry I'm late. There was a problem with the plane. There was something on the wing. It was really weird." And then Shatner goes, "Oh, I understand. That happened to me once." And it's perfect. It's perfect.
It is a really good show. And you would think that since Joseph Gordon-Levitt being so huge, people would want to go back and watch him. The four of them are they're really good, and it is all streaming on Peacock. So everyone. Yeah. And I don't know I think Peacock actually has the 4:3 aspect ratio, because for a while it was the false 16:9.
Stretched.
No, cropped.
Oh, that's
which
bullshit.
Drives me crazy.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Air everything in the aspect ratio it originally aired in. Damn it.
Well, I will say this. A lot of NBC shows in the mid to late 90s aired full frame, but were shot widescreen.
Right, yeah, because like ER did that, because like when you watch Seinfeld, but like the problem is, so like there was an episode of Friends, in the one in London Part 2, when Rachel is running out with her luggage to go fly to London, that shot in full screen, you can see the stage. You see the end of the wall and then like the end of the wood floor to like the concrete. And it's like, yeah assholes, that's why it was 4x3 is because of shit like that. And that's what, like, even if it was shot that way, God damn it, it just drives me crazy.
People don't, and most people don't care. We're a unique group.
It's like, you know, you go to your parents' house and everything's like smart motion and crazy aspect ratios.
I redo it and fix it every time, and then my dad's always like, "Would you messed up my TV?"
I don't understand.
And I'm like, "No,
do you not see? I don't understand."
Yeah,
it's wild.
Yeah,
but yeah. So Sunday's kind of a black hole. Although I did that lesbian drama movie, Two Mothers for Zachary. I would like to watch that now.
Yeah, which is on YouTube now. You could see that. Yeah. I will say too, the ad for Lois and Clark in here, which they've done like a Harlequin romance novel, is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that show was... This is what comic book fans don't understand, is that in the 90s, you took what you can get. Like, I was like, Lois and Clark is the greatest thing ever. I don't give a shit about Superman. I don't even like DC, but like, yes, I will watch it.
See, I'm a DC fan, and I was just like, I do want to mention too, there's a made-for-TV movie called What Love Sees, but it stars friend of the show, Annabeth Gish.
Yay! Oh, X-Files as well.
Yeah. So where are we? Monday? Oh, look, there's Jack Hanna selling a bloopers animal video.
I wanted to just note, just in general, Oprah was a mainstay for me every day coming home. I guess you could. I should have known that I was gay. That Oprah was appointment. Oh, fun fact. You know Turtles on Oprah? The Ninja Turtles on Oprah?
No.
Wait, what? Jeez, I was about to just... When the Ninja Turtles appeared on Oprah in 1990 to promote the Coming Out of the Shells tour, it is on YouTube because that is my copy. And it makes it into memes. I mean, how many views does it have now? I'm just trying to brag at this point.
Can I blow your mind a little bit in case you don't know this? Do you know who one of the people in one of the suits is?
Michael in Black.
That's right. Yep.
Because I literally just saw yesterday someone tweeted at him a GIF of one of the turtles and was like, it's hard to believe that Michael in Black is on Oprah. And he was like, actually, I did not do that. I did the like promotional thing for. So he was like, but
he was in the Macy's parade.
Oh, see. So like, yeah, it has 437,000 views over the past 6 years. And it has become like there is a fucking whatever Flick Flock had done the single most uncomfortable moment, 1.4 million views. Thanks for stealing my. But that like anytime you see anything from it, that is my VHS tape that my mom recorded for me when I was a kid, and I kept it, and it sat dormant until I was in like senior in high school, and me and my friends were bored, and we were like, oh, let's just watch this tape that says Turtles on Oprah. And it just blew our minds because it is so fucking weird. And you can hear Oprah just like at the bottom of her career, she literally says on a hot mic, oh my God. At one point, and it's great. And then like it became this ritual that anytime someone would come over to my house, we'd have to watch Turtles on Oprah first. And then fast forward to like 2004, whenever I got a DVD burner, so I like burned it to my computer to make VCDs for all my friends, and that file just sat on my computer until 6 years ago, I guess, when I was like, that's gotta be on YouTube. And I searched for it, and there was nothing, didn't exist anywhere. And I was like, well, let me just upload this. And then it just went insane. And it is wild now that like I will see people, like two friends that I am friends with will share gifts back and forth, like, oh, you haven't seen this? Yeah, I'm like, and I want to be like, you're welcome. Like for somehow that is literally the only copy that survived was mine.
You gave that to the world. And you should take credit for that.
And it is, it's great. You should definitely spend some time watching it.
For those of us like you and I who taped all these things, it's funny. I had Molly Hagan on the show, and she's a friend, and she was in a pilot that aired as a Wonderful World of Disney movie. Ooh. And it was an unsold pilot. It was her and George Carlin. And it was called Just in Case. And George Carlin played a ghost detective. So a detective who was deceased and was now a ghost, who solved mysteries with Molly, who was like 20 years old. And Disney had called her and asked her if she had a copy of it. Because they were like trying to, I don't know what they were trying to do, but they didn't have a copy. And she was like, I bet Ken Reed has a copy, which I did. So I copied it for her. So now like the official copy they have It's by bootleg.
Well, that's like on Disney Plus. They have like the Mouseketeers at Disney World, which has the original commercials that aired in like 1978 or whatever.
Yeah,
and, like Coca-Cola commercials and stuff. And it's just like, what the rights? I don't understand. I guess there's a statute of limitation on copyright or whatever. But like, it is great.
Well, weirdly, a lot of commercials are not copywritten.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Unless they have a song. But for the most part, they're not, because they don't bother. Because it's like...
Yeah, come on. Keep advertising our product. It's fine.
That's right. That's right. So Monday, where'd we go?
I did, of course, Jeff Foxworthy show is NBC at 8 p.m. What? Oh, I wrote down a note. Whew, it looks like we recast the mom just in time. What is that from? Is that from the blurb from TV Guide?
Yes.
Which is like, that's
rough.
That's real.
That's rough.
That's real bad.
That is cruel.
And then like I didn't I wrote down like I was interested in Pearl, the Rhea Perlman show at 8:30, although I didn't watch it. I don't know if I guess I didn't watch TV on Monday.
It was very short-lived too. It was. So this was when they were desperately trying to get anything to work that worked in the 80s.
Oh, yeah. So that's why you have Sybil. I did watch Sybil. Sybil was the only CBS show that I watched.
Which was great.
Yeah, I guess also Christine Baranski. I should have known I was gay.
And Alicia Witt.
Yeah, it's great.
It's the best.
But then I wrote down Party Girl and Lush Life. For those two Fox shows, which I'd never...
Party Girl was based on the movie with Parker Posey.
Oh, I'd never heard of them, but like, wait, who are the stars? I should have wrote down all this information.
It was Ben Stiller's wife.
Oh, Christine Taylor! Melody from Hey Dude. And also Marsha Brady.
Yes, which she had just come off the Brady Bunch movie, so she was kind of hot from that stuff. So they did a TV version of the indie movie Party Girl, which starred Parker Posey as a librarian who was a party club kid at night, and it was terrible.
Lush Life. Okay, I'm looking at Lush Life. I need to watch because Lori Petty is canon, and Karen Parsons deserves the world. Hillary, it is it's misogynoir that Karen Parsons did not have a huge career because Hillary Banks is one of the funniest characters in sitcom history.
Oh yeah, she's amazing.
God.
And never really did much after Fresh Prince. I do want to mention Mr. Rhodes also premieres that night, starring Tom Rhodes, also friend of the show. Ron Glass. And that show was the first appearance of Supernatural's Jensen Ackles.
Oof.
Which is hilarious because Tom knows him as like a 13-year-old, basically.
Yeah.
So whenever he talks about him now, he's like, basically like, little Jensen, he's a good kid, like all this stuff. It's just like really funny.
I also love this NBC Monday night movie, She Cried No, starring Candace Cameron Bure of Full House.
This was post Poison Ivy and Mark Paul Gosselaar, and it's not looking like him. This is a date rape movie, and Jenna Von Hoy is in this
is like we're not kids anymore. Like,
this was post Poison Ivy. Like we're gonna reinvent ourselves as like sexy adults doing dramatic roles.
This is also Candace Cameron Bure also famously plays a witch on Boy Meets World, which I always love bringing up every time I can because it's crazy.
As well you should.
And Monday at 10 p.m. is Road Rules, which, for a time, I loved more than Real World.
I think you're correct.
It was my life's goal. Like, it was a plan. Like, when I was in middle school, my parents would ask me, like, so what do you want to do? I was like, okay, well, obviously, when I turn 18, I did audition for Road Rules because I need to go on that, and then I'll go to college. Like, it was a part of the plan when I was a kid. I wanted to go on Road Rules so bad. I wanted to Winnebago. I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah. In the first season of Road Rules, which was amazing because it grew super organically. The reason they made it was because in the second
LA
season of
premiere,
the Real World, Dominic and John Brennan.
Yeah. And they picked up
one more. I forget who they picked up.
Was it Tammy?
It was like one episode or two episodes where they did that, and they were like, we need to make a whole show of that. So the first season of Road Rules was really like innovative and felt fresh, and it wasn't as contrived as the rest of them, and it's still great.
I love Northern Trail was when I came in. That summer of MTV, which I think is also like Wanna Be a VJ, like that summer it's my like It's my teen years. I love it. Like Northern Trail, I love when Ronnie got her Victoria's Secret underwear stolen. God, probably by the people breaking into the van. And then I remember I was very active on the AOL Road Rules message boards, and we got into very heated arguments in season 7, Latin America, when Gladys got kicked off for hitting someone.
Well, that was the rule.
She was provoked. Well, it's really funny to think back to when, like, I was in 8th grade and I was arguing with definitely adults, and they had no idea. Because I'm like, now, if I was arguing with a 7th grader online, I would be like, shut, no, done, back.
Well, you may be.
I might be. Maybe they're very. I don't know. Yeah, it's nuts. So yeah, Road Rules is great. I love that.
Tuesday, what do we do?
Well, Tuesday is where, Tuesday's a big night. Tuesday's always a big night. Tuesday, I did Mad About You, obviously, NBC at 8. Then Something So Right, which I also loved. That is my frame of reference for Jer Burns, is Something So Right. I was like, oh, it's Something So Right guy.
Also from Cambridge, Massachusetts.
And then Home Improvement at 9, Carolina in the City at 9:30, and then Dateline, obviously. But like, so I did a Home Improvement. When Home Improvement hit Hulu, I did a rewatch. And it is great. I do not like family.
I hate that show.
I don't like family sitcoms. Almost as a rule, I find them saccharine and just really grating. But rewatching it, like Patricia Richardson is just one of the greatest actresses. She's so good on that show, and she just elevates Tim Allen, who is. Tim Allen, but like every like, it also just feels like I am like Randy and Mark's age, so like it is very much my childhood is what that show feels like. And I kept waiting for the part where I stopped watching Home Improvement, like doing the rewatch. I was like, I'm gonna hit a season at some point.
Oh, there's no part.
And then I realized like I'm still watching that in season 6. Like this is 6. Like I'm still Brad probably has the awful flying squirrel haircut and the shaved sides, and Mark might be a goth haircut this season. That's probably next season. And so I will still stump hard. I think Home Improvement is my favorite family sitcom.
Wow. See, I
period
cannot watch that show. And the description that I always say on the show is watching that show is like falling asleep in your bed at night, waking up in the middle of the night, and you're just in the middle of a Hess gas station. And you don't know how you got there or why you're there, and like your reaction. That's how I would watch Home Improvement. They're just like, wow, what? I watched it, but I never liked it.
Oh, see,
and I don't understand why.
It's also, even though it's set in Detroit, it is very southern. Like it's very like my dad loved.
That's why I didn't like it.
Yeah, like and so. But what I like watching it back as an adult, which is why I wrote the Indictment on Toxic Masculinity piece, is the show is not on Tim's side, which is what blows my mind as an adult. Because as a kid, you think he's funny, but as an adult, you realize that Al, Jill, and Wilson are justifiably and correctly calling him out. And the beautiful thing about Tim Taylor is he does learn every episode. He learns in a way that conservative masculine men in 2020 do not learn, literally ever, and just plant their feet. He's always actually trying to better himself. He's always trying to, like, even though he doesn't get it right, even though he bungles whatever weird, African folklore Wilson's telling him, he still, like, has the intention and wants to learn and do better. And I think that is really good. And then just also the fact that the writing staff was like 40% women.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Is really shocking considering that is not even the case today. No. But I went back when I wrote the thing about Jill. I was like, well, how many women actually wrote for this show? And like 40% of the first 2 seasons are episodes written by women, which is truly just shocking. And then,
but it sets that tone. Yeah, I mean, he's presented as a selfish asshole.
Yes.
And who screws everything up, which to your point, they do intentionally do that. And he's like, oh, I didn't know. But for me, I was like, yeah, this guy's a dick.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the point, but I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I do want to mention Mad About You that night, Mel Brooks is guest starring as Paul's Uncle Phil.
I need that to stream on something other than Spectrum or whatever that I need, because I need to see that.
That's a great show.
I need to see that. I mean, I watched it all the time as a kid.
Their Thanksgiving episode, one of my all-time favorites.
Yes, we did that on Must Have Seen TV last year. The Giblets for Murray is so fucking good.
Perfect.
It is.
Perfect.
It's a perfect error. Like, just the turkeys out the window is so good.
Yeah. I panicked. Well, the episode, they did one before that too, where they're taking the train to Connecticut, and the whole episode takes place on the train to Thanksgiving dinner. That never happens. That's also very good. But Giblets for Murray is amazing. You also passed up Homeboys in Outer Space.
How long did that run?
Less than a season. So it was a half a season. This is just a wonderfully terrible, terrible show.
Inevitable and lasted half a season IRL, but in terms of the pop culture subconsciousness, it's lasted 24 years.
So I'm going to read, because they're so few and far between, I feel like I need to read the plot for this episode. Loquata forsakes life on the hoopty when her singing career hits the intergalactic top 40. So Ty and Morris buy a new computer from Milky Ray that has them singing the blues.
Great.
Milky Ray is one of the characters.
Yeah. I mean, I would watch it. I would watch it now.
Burning Zone was on.
Wait, what is Burning Zone?
Show. So Burning Zone was this amazing serialized apocalyptic sci-fi show.
Wait, on what network?
And it's on. It was on UPN.
Oh
no, was it UPN? It was on one of the new networks. Or
WB UPN.
Yeah, and it starred Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Oh, wow.
And it was a cool show. It was in that post X-Files, we're doing weirdness shows. No one ever mentions it. It's pretty hard to see now, but it was a pretty cool show.
I like that. Was it Space Above and Beyond?
Yes,
Was that what it, and who were the show? Oh, that was Darren Morgan. Wasn't that Darren Morgan's show from X-Files?
I believe so.
Like the Morgan brothers left to go do that show. And I remember I liked that show, and it didn't last long at all.
Of course not. Of course not.
Yeah. Also, I loved, basically, in this era, NBC could toss literally any show at me, and I'm going to love it, because I loved Caroline the City. Loved Caroline the City.
I love Leah Thompson.
Loved, I mean, honestly, until whenever that first Cats trailer dropped last fall, all I knew about Cats came from Annie on Caroline the City, her neighbor who was in
Fair
Cats.
enough.
And then when my coworkers explained the plot to Cats to me, it was like my entire world shifted, and I was like, this is what people have been talking about all this time? Yeah. You're all mad. It was like Twilight Zone. It was like, you've all gone crazy.
Yeah. What? Yeah, so Caroline in the City was in that weird NBC knew in the 9:30 slot or whatever, they could just put anything and then spin it off. So you had like Single Guy, Caroline in the City, Suddenly Susan, Veronica's Closet, like, and all meld.
It was this false hubris thing where, because like on Must Have Seen TV, at the end of every episode, I'll go through what the 5 shows were, what the top 5 shows that week on TV were, and often it's like number 2, Veronica's Closet, and
yeah.
It's like these shows were not actually hits. It's just it's like the ultimate hammock slots.
Yeah.
And then they would always move them to other nights. And then they would, like Veronica's Closet has one of the like most insane drops from like number 2 one season to number like 80 something the next, like just.
And the show didn't change. It's just that it wasn't between Seinfeld and ER anymore.
And of course I watched all of them. There was the time where NBC tried to counter-program Monday Night Football with Must She TV, which was like, Naked Truth, Suddenly Susan, Caroline City, and Veronica's Closet, I think. Which, loved it. Loved all of those.
Yeah. Wednesday, what'd you do?
Wednesday is Ellen at 8. Townies at 8:30.
Which I love.
Yes. I like Townies.
Also, my second favorite Thanksgiving episode
is it Townies? I need to find that somehow.
I have it. I'll get it for you. It is unbelievably good. Unbelievably good.
Wednesday's a really good night because Ellen Townies, News Radio, Drew Carey, and then of course Primetime Live because I love news magazines at 10. But
yeah, and you still have John Larroquette Show, which had dropped in quality but was still pretty good. Nick Farino, Licensed Teacher.
Oh wait, The Nanny's on Wednesdays at this point, and
The
Wings?
Nanny was on Wednesdays. Wings is on Wednesdays.
Men Behaving Badly.
Yeah. Oh, that was awful with Rob. The U.S. remake of Men Behaving Badly with Rob Schneider.
This is not. Oh no, this is the Ellen season. because it's spring 97 that she comes out.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Ellen,
She hadn't come out yet.
yeah. So to get real, this is where I knew that my parents were homophobic, or it would be an issue, because I loved Ellen. I loved Ellen so much. I loved her show. I didn't watch it when it was Friends Like These. Whatever.
one did.
God, everyone go back and Google or YouTube the very Ellen season 1 opening credits, because they are fucking wild. They're in a desert. They're tripping. They're all wearing acid wash denim. But I love season 2. I love season 3, because this is 4, I think. And I remember specifically, and it is telling what memories stick in your brain for the rest of your life. I remember being at a McDonald's with my parents and my dad being like, well, you know that Ellen's like a lesbian. She's going to come out this season. Someone coworker at work told me that. And I was like, what are you talking about? And this is, mind you, before this season even started. So I don't know what inside track one of his coworkers at the Nissan plant in Smyrna, Tennessee.
Well, it was in like National Enquirer and all that stuff for a long time.
And so I knew that like it was, and I had to be like, no, she's not, and it's not gonna blah blah. And I was like, had to really defend me watching that show, and I still watched it. And then I didn't watch her coming out episode. I think I had stopped at that point because of Christianity and oppressive parents. So good on you, Ellen.
It does ruin everything. Grace Under Fire, which I love. News Radio is on.
This is the Dilbert episode of News Radio, which is also great when Matthew gets fired because they won't let him cover Dilbert. And of course, Dilbert is garbage now.
Really bad.
Really bad shit. But this is the season 4 premiere of News? No, this is like the season 3 premiere.
Season 3.
Yeah.
Season 3, yeah.
Yeah, so this is still peak. This is still really...
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I mean... It's peak for the first 4 seasons. It doesn't.
It really is.
It doesn't stop being good until Hartman's
dies,
gone. And that's
which isn't the fault of the show. Wednesdays.
Oh, and then Drew Carey Show we talked about already. Oh, and then 10 p.m. Real World Miami.
Yep.
Was it yours to open, you stupid bitch?
Yep.
Is that episode?
I have a problem with Melissa.
History made. Oh my God. In high school, me and my friends would just quote. I mean, honestly, we just quoted it in the last couple months. Something happened and I replied to a text with like, was it yours to open, you stupid bitch?
See, I quote the LA season all the time with it wasn't not funny.
It wasn't not funny.
And there's styrofoam, pick it up. That's one of my things. Styrofoam, clean it up.
God, I get that like music rights are the reason, but just put Jingle Jangles, Muzak. What I do not care. I just need to see these episodes. I just need them.
The big problem is that they don't have separate track masters.
Oh God.
So they're all mixed down, so they can't even do that.
Well, because like season 1 is the only one that's ever been released.
Yeah,
and
it's cut to hell.
Yeah, but like it's so good. It is so. It just like.
You have a beeper? Do you sell drugs?
Beeper? Do you sell drugs?
Yeah.
I mean, and Miami is. So Miami is not the beginning because London comes after Miami, and London is like the snooze fest. So it's like Miami is like the glimpse of what's to come.
Yeah. Fighting and fighting.
Yeah, just like nonstop insanity. And I love that. Oh no, Miami. Wait, which
Miami was after?
Yeah, because they gave them all jobs because in London none of them did anything, and they were like, Jesus Christ, we need to give them something to do because that playwright guy just sat around all day.
Yeah. It went New York, L.A., San Francisco, Boston, London.
Boston was after Miami. Boston's 97.
Okay. Yes, because they had jobs too. Mm-hmm. London, Miami, Boston.
Yeah. Seattle was the first one I watched week to week. I think I started sneaking MTV at the end of Boston.
Fair enough.
And since that was the more recent one, it was on reruns a lot. But then Seattle was like 9 p.m. Central, going into my room, closing the door, putting on closed caption and turning it down to watch.
Boston, we would go throw bricks at the house.
Oh no, poor Cyrus.
Because it was in the old Spencer for Hire house.
Oh, poor Genesis. Poor memory of Robert Urich.
Montana. I've almost had Montana on the show, and I've almost had Beth B on the show, and Norman on the show.
Oh, Norman's great. Never touch Sean Duffy.
Yeah.
Sean Duffy and Rachel
he
Campos.
is garbage. Sean Duffy blocked me on Twitter. He and I have gotten into it a few times. He is a real dumb guy.
Yeah.
Real dumb.
I did.
Rachel Campos is smart, but a bad person.
I remember when I was in college, Floral and Mike from season 10 were doing my college got them, and they were coming to do a sex in the 2000s speaking engagement. But then it just became everyone asking them questions about pervy stuff from the real world. They were not there to talk to us about anything important or serious.
Well, Miami's also the year that that guy Joe wrote that book, Living in Joe's World. That was an expose on the real behind the scenes.
He loves Snoopy. And he was 5'0" nothing, was dating that 7 foot tall.
Yeah, his fiance, who sounded so made up until you saw her, because he'd always be like, well, my fiance, let me check with my fiance. I was like, what?
And then she shows up and it's like, what the hell? This is like
Amazon.
Cindy Crawford just walked in and is dating Dave Foley, but schlubby.
He was like a little Jersey troll.
Yeah.
He was kind of
I do miss,
Joe.
No, they still they were still casting regular people up through I think Seattle. No, Seattle, Irene, very normal. Hawaii is where things go off the rails.
Yeah, with Ruthie. And also mixing a lot of different people. Not just people that look different, people of different ages. They just stopped trying.
Yeah, I mean, a season 1 Kevin and Julie argument is golden because of just all the differences. Oh, good show.
Heather B. Heather B.
I just love it.
Yeah. Rain Dance.
Oh, my God. Andre. Also, other Becky having an affair with a producer.
With the producer, yeah.
Oh, but that's also... That's
other Becky who's not Suzanne Vega, but really wishes she was.
Really Suzanne Vega-esh. And I love the... I'll do anything for you, Kira. Seattle. Just him screaming in silhouette in a truck.
And Irene the slap heard around the world.
The relationship between you and I would never work, Steven, because you're a homosexual. And then he jerks off at her, grabs her, throws her dog stuffed animal that he had hidden earlier, has to go to anger management classes, comes back wearing a bob wig, weird.
And he was a homosexual too. Later, he came out much later.
Yes,
much later.
10 years later. Was he?
Yeah.
Was it an urban legend that he was also a male prostitute or something, or was arrested for it?
I've never heard that.
I don't know.
I used to see Irene all the time. She moved to Boston, and I would see her on the subway all the time.
That makes sense. I'm sure she loves people talking about Neil Diamond to her.
Probably. She still has Lyme disease.
Oh, good. She's an advocate.
Yeah, she truly is. Thursday, I have to imagine you went must-see all night.
What else? What else is there to do? There is literally nothing else to do. Because NBC, 8 p.m., Friends, the one where no one's ready, one of the perfect hour, or perfect half hour of television, one of the greatest episodes of Friends of all time. One of the examples I hold up of stop judging Friends by its last 6 seasons or its last 5 seasons.
Stop judging it by all of its episodes.
Stop judging it by the last 100, by half of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is fully 2 different shows. It's every time we talk about it on Must Have Seen TV, I always go into this huge spiel about there's a clear line of quality of the first 4.5 seasons and the last 5.5. This episode is it's a bottle episode. It's real time. It is so many great moments. There's 6 plots going on all at once. They all have such funny moments. Phoebe's, I got the hummus. I figured, why not? I'll be political. It's just so good. And
well, that show also, I think, became a victim of, we know this is going to be popular no matter what, so why bother trying?
Well, that's the end of it. What I love is when you hear stories about Friends season 1, because I wrote the writers' table. Some podcast had a bunch of the writers on, and they were it was a hard room because if we pitched a joke and anyone could veto any joke if they said they'd heard it before, which is how you get in season 1 oh, guess what? The 5th dentist caved, and now they're all recommending Trident. You get weird. There's all these great non sequiturs in seasons 1 and 2 that just are fresh and really smart and sharp.
Yeah, not first draft.
And then it becomes, Monica's a neat freak. Chandler might be gay. Ross is insane. Like, Ross is an actual maniac. And it just gets really... It becomes a farce, and it becomes a lot more slapsticky and like physical comedy, a lot more gimmicky. The Thanksgiving episodes are still mostly really good after that. I mean, I think some of the best Thanksgiving episodes are in the latter half of the series, but I've always wanted to do an actual like study of it, because I feel like in the first 4 seasons, the conflict is external, and then in the last half, the conflict is all internal.
Yeah, there's no outside characters. It's like they're in the biosphere.
Yeah, and it's also like they're not friends anymore. Like all of a sudden, they're all like lying to each other and like just being mean, which mean is, you take Sketch 101 and someone comes in and like, week 1 of sketch is like, the housemaid's a bitch, and it's like, okay, cool. Well, mean is not a game. Mean is not funny. But to people that don't know what they're doing, mean is like the easiest thing to do. And it's just...
But there was a shift that I think we're still reeling from today in comedy with the unlikable people who are mean as main characters.
Yeah.
That Seinfeld really kicked off. So I feel like part of that was the sort of influence of that.
I guess it's also hard because Friends started as definitely not that. It was so good. It was so like real. The season 1 is a perfect season of television. It's so good right from the start of just like they all feel like real people. They all have such nuanced personalities. They all interact with each other. They all have different dynamics. And then to see it just devolve into like, hey, no homo, like it's so annoying. Yeah. It's so upsetting. Whereas like Seinfeld, they were all jerks, and it was fine that they were always jerks.
But like, why put in the effort if people are going to watch it regardless? You might as well go home early.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, and I do think like they are still like, it is still operating at like a really good high farce level, that it becomes a very good version of the new show that it is.
But it also relies on cadence more than content on so much stuff. Like it almost doesn't, like they know the pattern of what something has to sound like, and it kind of doesn't even matter what it is.
Yeah.
They're just like, as long as it goes like
I love
we got it.
Vanessa Bayer's Jennifer Aniston impersonation. It's just like, Ross, like it's that the great impressions where it's like you never knew that you could do them until you hear someone do them, and you're like, oh yeah, that is how they always sound. It's great.
You've distilled this down to perfection.
And then I was also, of course, doing Single Guy, Seinfeld, Suddenly Susan, ER. Like, I'm not changing the dial. It is...
Yeah.
It's a weekly Christmas.
Yeah. I mean, I loved ER at the time. I've tried to rewatch them. They're quality, but make me so sad and depressed. I can't do it.
I wrote an article for work when it hit Hulu. I wrote an article like, watching ER is horrible as an adult. Because, like, as a kid, I was just like, this is wild. Like, but as an adult, it's like... Oh, I now know people who have died, and I am married, and
I've been in a hospital.
Yeah, and it's like,
this is not nice.
Oh, this is what I'm just watching people's like spouses die all the time.
It's very triggering.
Yeah,
that show is just like everybody.
But like the cast and the acting and stuff is so good. And I mean, this is Jeannie Boulay finds out that she has AIDS or HIV in this episode.
Yep, which was a huge deal.
Yeah.
And then Eric LaSalle's character was such a dick.
Yeah.
Oh, he was always a dick.
I also loved how Sherry Stringfield left and then came back, and I also loved that Ming-Na Wen left and came back. I love that. The continuity of the show. Also the fact that Jerry, it was his name, the like ex-cop front desk worker guy who comes in midway is in the pilot episode playing a cop.
Yeah.
And when they brought him, when they like cast the actor, they're like, oh, cool, you're just going to play the same character.
Yeah. I love it. Adrian, isn't it Ben Ruby from, it's Coob from Parker Lewis?
Well, yeah, Ben Ruby's, there's an older guy who, is he Scully or Hitchcock on Brooklyn Nine-Nine now? He's one of those guys.
I think he's one of them.
He's the opera singer guy. He's the character he played on ER, he was in the pilot as a cop who got shot. They brought him back like 3 years later to play a new front desk secretary guy. But also, Ben Ruby on this. This is where I know Abraham Ben Ruby from.
It's great. I do want to mention that at 10 p.m., there's a opposite ER. There's a ABC News Turning Point special hosted by Hugh Downs. And this is the description. Coffee enemas? Bee stings? Rearranging the furniture to cure cancer? Crazy? You'll be surprised at the people who are betting their lives on these things. Tonight, Hugh Downs explores the mysterious world of alternative medicine, where anything is possible. Before you scoff, watch.
Wow, yeah, Hugh Downs getting into that Facebook group is what that sounds like.
Yep. That big coffee enema fans.
Well, isn't that like didn't Janet Jackson swear by those also or something?
Probably.
There was like the Velvet Rope tour. I remember she caused headlines by going on Oprah and talking about her like frequent enemas or something.
Do you have a tape of that?
No, I should. Yeah, my Oprah archives. The only Oprah I ever recorded is Turtles on Oprah. Darn it.
Fair enough.
I also love Suddenly Susan. Let's just,
I can't.
Judd Nelson. I am also fascinated by the feud between Vicky. Wait, hold on. Kathy Griffin and Vicki Lewis.
Yeah, from News Radio, because people got them confused.
Well, and like that whole thing of they would be watching Suddenly Susan, and Kathy Griffin's redheaded secretary would be wearing like the exact outfit and stuff. Like they would be copying outfits.
Yeah,
and that is
kind of fascinating.
Yeah,
is it? And Nestor
Carbonell is on that.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
He was great.
Well, and then also the guy that died. Who died during the show. I can't remember what his name is. He was like the cool Ethan Embry-esque actor.
Oh.
He was like, I think he was like the music reporter maybe, and he
I don't remember that.
died right before the last season. I mean, of course, also no one's watching Suddenly Susan at this point.
Right.
And they wrote it into the show, but they wrote it in that his character just went missing. And they all had to deal with the fact that he's just gone.
Jeff Buckley stuff.
Yeah, and like it's like, oof. That's dark shit.
That's bad. Judd Nelson's from New Hampshire originally, and I was talking about this a couple weeks ago with a friend of mine. In like the early 2000s, we were outside this punk rock club in Cambridge, Mass, and this guy was getting into a cab, and I was like, that guy looks just like Judd Nelson. And the two guys I was with were kind of dicks, and they were like, 2 weeks, Bender. And the guy goes, hey, fuck you. Like he was so mad about it. And then he got off in the cab. And so I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny. And then the next day I'm reading the paper and there's a review of a new play in Boston starring Judd Nelson. And I was like, oh, it was Judd Nelson.
It was when I was a senior in high school. I was me and my friend were driving with her boyfriend in his Eddie Bauer branded Bronco. And we were like in Nashville and we were like driving and like some dude was just like walking in front of us. And we're like, and he basically says like, move it, Ben Folds, like joking. And then when we passed him, it was Ben Folds. Because Ben Folds is just like hanging around.
That's amazing.
But it's like from behind, he was just like, move it, Ben Folds. Great.
I have on a much lower level than that. Do you know who Kane Hodder is?
Oh, yeah. Wait, who is? I know that name.
He played Jason in like
right,
Friday the 13th movies. But I used to, in the before times, I used to do panels and stuff at a ton of conventions and horror conventions. And Kane Hodder's always there, and I don't know Kane Hodder. And I was doing a panel, and he started busting the balls of someone who was on the stage because he was friends with them. I forget who it was. I think it was like Adam Green or someone. And from the audience, and I went, shut the fuck up, Kane Hodder. And then I was like, for a second, I was like, oh, I don't know Kane Hodder. And then he started laughing, and I was like, ah. So then, like 6 months later, I'm at another convention, and I'm in the men's room, and I'm peeing, and Kane Hodder's peeing next to me. And he looks at me, and he goes, I think that's enough shaking. And then I went, don't tell me what to do, Kane Hodder. And all these people were in there. And I'm like, once again, don't know Kane Hodder.
Well, I think at this point you definitely do.
Yeah, no. And like 6 months later, we're at this convention in Indianapolis, and it was really slow. And he kept letting off an air horn, and he was like 2 booths behind my booth. And so I just pulled the curtain back, and I went, cut the shit, Kane Hodder. And I was like, this is the relationship I have with Kane Hodder without knowing him at all. It's pretty exciting
Friend for
stuff.
life. This is what we had
Yes.
before Twitter interactions, right?
It's true.
These are like IRL Twitter interactions.
It's true. We told people we don't know, but we know their name to shut the fuck up. Friday night, final night of the week.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm
What are you
not
going
doing TGIF. I am too old for TGIF
Oh.
at this point. I'm an adult. I'm watching News Radio and Drew Carey and Suddenly Susan.
You're passing up Urkel in Paris?
I mean, this is the start of season 9 or season 8.
Yeah.
This is the last ABC season.
Yes.
before CBS bets big on, like you said, just trying to do what anyone else is doing and just paying an exorbitant amount of money for Family Matters and Step by Step.
How many times was Urkel held hostage? That was like a plot every third episode.
Oh, no, yeah, because like the very first Halloween episode in season 2 or 3 is them being held hostage at a bank.
Yeah.
We just did Stevil, which is the season 8 Halloween episode.
Yes.
We did that on my podcast because
there's 2 Stevils.
Yeah, the second one isn't
episodes,
well, of course the second one. Sequel's hardly ever as good.
Sequel's yeah.
And also like this lineup, like I remember like I didn't care about Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Even though I should, as a lover of Martin Mull, as a deep lover of Martin Mull. Which
I love now, and Nell Scovell created that show, is a friend and hilarious, and like Dana Gould shows up on that show, Joel Hodgson shows up, Penn and Teller.
Is Kevin Murphy a writer on it? Like someone from MST3K was also a writer on it.
Josh Weinstein.
Yeah, so like,
and Kevin Murphy, yeah. It's a lot of the guys who wrote for Freaks and Geeks.
Right, yeah. Paul Feig is on the first season. And then Mull comes on in season 2, which is also like peak Mull. Sorry.
That's true. Fair enough.
Some peak Mull, very hot. This is one of my types. I love me some Martin Mull. Wait, hold on. That's not Alicia Silverstone in The Clueless.
No, it isn't. It is
look-alike.
It's the Canadian girl who started her career on Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Of course.
The blonde. So this is in the Clueless. She's also on Peep Show, the British comedy. But yeah, this is the Clueless TV series that is actually pretty decent.
It didn't last that long. No, it went over to UPN and lasted way too long. It
went on for like 6 seasons.
Yeah.
Julie Brown is in it as a lot of the original cast, aside from Alicia Silverstone. Amy Heckerling wrote and directed a lot of the episodes. Like it has all the people from the movie who are kind of behind the show. And it's not a bad, if you like the movie, the show is good.
And then Boy Meets World, I'm like, no, thank you. I don't know. I liked Boy Meets World fine when I was a very little kid, but like people my age really latched onto it as he grew up, and I don't know, I've watched a bunch of those like latter series episodes now, and I'm like, I don't get it.
No, I hate that show. There's 2 shows that I want to mention. One is a new series that's a remake of the old movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which was a movie remade later with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
Which caused a major divorce.
Divorce. But this is a TV series version that stars Scott Bakula and Maria Bello, which sounds kind of awesome.
Yeah, this is before Maria Bello did her 1 season of ER. Right, yes. Yeah, she like joined season
and then
4.
Started doing movies.
Yeah, she was like, I'm leaving, even though she had a lot of plot lines going. Like they were making her a big deal. I think this night I'm doing like, you want spooky ooky Unsolved Mysteries and X-Files back to back. Like,
yeah.
And this in the earlier part of the issue when they were talking about returning favorites, are noting that they note that X-Files will be going to Sunday at some point this season, which is primarily when I watched it was on Sundays. Although as soon as X-Files hit syndication, I was watching it every night, every single night.
Yeah, see, Fridays is when I would watch it in Sightings on Fox, which was the just supernatural version.
That's all I get. So, like, for work, I once wrote a just all the UFO episodes of Unsolved Mysteries, like just nothing but
That's
UFOs.
what Sightings was.
I don't care about lost loves or angels or like haunted B&Bs, like.
Yeah. This episode, what you would not like, this is reports include the suicide of actress Margot Hemingway, granddaughter of Ernest Hemingway, a Los Angeles man's search for his biological mother, and the hunt for the killers of 2 Mercer College students.
Whatever. Blah. No, thank you. If there isn't a Bigfoot, I don't care.
No. And then a show I always meant to watch. I don't know if I've ever seen an entire episode of it. Speaking of MST3K, it's often used as a punchline. Sliders.
Oh man, Slitters. I will mispronounce it Slitters. I love
Slitters.
that.
And I forget that it started on Fox before Sci-Fi picked it up. I always forget that.
Yeah, I feel like I watched it a little. I think I watched it when I was on. Was it on Friday nights? So I think I watched it when I was on Fox a little bit. Again, it
was paired with X-Files.
My primary Jerry O'Connell knowledge, it comes from Sliders. But it's that quantum leap formula. It's that slide alternate dimensions.
This is the debut, by the way, of Sabrina.
Oh, right, yeah.
And in this episode, Penn and Teller and Deborah Harry.
Wow. Yeah, it was. I also think it also very much has a not filmed in front of a live studio audience vibe, which I am hesitant towards. Like I am such a advocate for the multicam live studio audience format, because you get moments like Giblets from Murray, or like the one where no one's ready, or like Thanksgiving Orphans, or you get these like amazing theatrical, like fiery
frenzies.
Everyone is just like firing off of shit, and when it's that really staid, like I don't know that I don't. It's fine.
It feels very Nickelodeon or Disney Channel multicam.
Yes,
when it doesn't have
that. That is the vibe of Boy Meets World and Sabrina to me. Was it felt very Disney Channel. Like it didn't feel as edgy as Full House. What am I talking about?
No,
I don't know.
It wasn't. I don't mean to brag, but I've done shows with both Dave Coulier and Bob Saget.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
If only John Stamos started doing stand-up, I could get all three.
For Dave Coulier's birthday, I think in 2018 for work, I took the episode where he goes on Star Search, and I isolated just his stand-up routine, because that's like the only time you see Joey Gladstone do stand-up. And then I had a bunch of my comedy writer friends and like stand-up friends. I sent them the clip and I was like, critique this. and then I did a like, is Joey Gladstone a good stand-up post?
Oh, I bet they were brutal. Right? Well, he is though. He was.
Yeah, so I made that clear in the article. It's like, obviously Dave Coulier is good. We're talking about Joey Gladstone, who a lot of his jokes revolve around Popeye impersonations.
Well, so did Dave Coulier.
Okay, well, maybe Dave Coulier was. I felt I was really excited about the piece, and I was like, oh, is this kind of mean to publish on his birthday? But it's a really funny piece, and it's done in jest. It's done in love.
Yes, sure we appreciate it.
He's fine. He's dating someone that is half my age, I'm sure.
Yes, well,
they all three of them are. I think they're all three dating people that are younger than like the Olsen twins at this point.
That checks out
the trajectory.
That is the whole week. And before we wrap up here, I want to read you the cheers and jeers of this week, because as you know, TV Guide, it doesn't just inform us; it has opinions.
It's taste making.
So it's taste making. So I will read you the cheers and jeers of this week, September 21st, 1996. See if you agree or disagree. It's a split week. We have 2 cheers, 2 jeers. We start with a cheers. Cheers to Punchline Payback. In a series of public service announcements on Comedy Central, distinguished politicians stump for voter turnout while turning the tables on the comedians who have lampooned them. Former President George Bush, for instance, targets his nemesis Dana Carvey, who did such a devastating impression of him on SNL. And then we have asked Citizen Bush, what kind of name is Dana anyway? In another spot, former President Gerald Ford gets revenge on Chevy Chase.
Oh, wow.
Citing Chevy Chase's recent career record, Ford says, "Who's laughing now, funny man?" I kind of love this.
I like the Gerald Ford part. I'm like, it's hard for me to like anything that Bush does, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
But like, I also am like, man, who do I hate more, George Bush or Chevy Chase? Chevy Chase is pretty bad. So like, you know what? And also, this is a nice throwback to just how not insane politics were in 1996.
Yeah, there was still some you could have fun with. It wasn't enough said.
Yeah,
Let's move on to a jeer.
Hyperventilating.
Jeers to some funky old wine served up in a new bottle. Last week, NBC subjected us to another of those annoying compendiums of forced hilarity and hamminess. A blooper show. Only this time they titled it All New, All-Star TV Censored Bloopers. Catchy, huh? The title, the result of an online poll, tries to borrow some of the hip cachet of the traveling rock festival Lollapalooza.
Yeah.
Well, no matter which way you slice it, we say it's bloopers, and we say the heck with it.
Man, what's the hate on bloopers? Come on.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's nothing else you can jeers this week. You're gonna dunk on bloopers is like low. Bloopers as a thing is low-hanging fruit, and I feel like shitting on bloopers is even lower. I don't know.
Yeah, it's blooper palooza. Yeah. Like it's let them have their bloopers.
And also, like that title makes me think like, yeah, they knew they were doing something stupid. They didn't care. Like who cares?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
It's also like the season hasn't even started yet. What do you expect NBC to air?
Yeah, we need to bring back the Palooza as a title for things. Yeah, Jeers a Palooza. Jeers to a couple of fumbles on the NFL season, and then it's just about Monday Night Football.
Which is like, fuck that. Sure, Jeers.
Yeah.
I'm over there watching Mushy TV at that point.
Yes, exactly. And finally, cheers to a pair of fanciful football-related commercials. In the first, Herman Moore, a receiver for the Detroit Lions, visits The Godfather. In this spoof for Reebok, Moore gets the audience not with Don Cornelius, but not with Don Corleone, but Don Cornelius, the Soul Train host, and Don's henchmen are Fred Williamson and Pam Grier.
I've never seen the Godfather movies, and I don't like football, so like.
But I like Don Cornelius and Fred Williamson and Pam Grier.
Yeah, like that's like I'm like yeah, sure. You know what? If people want to give that some cheers, you can go for it. I mean, it's honestly, I'm kind of bummed that I got 2 football-related ones.
Yeah, because then the other one is Barry Corbin sits in an empty locker room and bemoans how, as a member of the pep squad, he was powerless to prevent the opposing team from scoring. Disconcertedly, he sighs, quote, "Pom-poms, my only means of expression."
I like that.
I like that. I know I want to see that Barry Corbin commercial.
I remember the cheers and jeers would make me so angry when I got TV Guide.
Oh, they're so bitchy.
If I didn't agree. I remember one time they dragged, I mean, I was very young, but I remember one time reading a review of Captain Planet, a bad review, and getting so mad because I was like, Captain Planet is out here trying to save the world, and y'all are being mean to Captain Planet. Like, he teaches me how to recycle. Like,
how dare you?
He's doing good.
How dare you? Oh, there is. What is this? The commercial is up online of Barry Corbin with his pom-poms. Anything that you recommending or you're watching during lockdown, or comfort shows that you're binging?
Oh boy, it's Cheers probably. Although Cheers is a bit of a trigger because it's so good that if I watch it too regularly, I get very depressed that I wasn't born 30 years earlier so that I could write for it. Like, it gets very, like, I just love that show so much. And then also, like, News Radio and, Bob Newhart show.
All good ones, though. All good ones.
Dick Van Dyke. I honestly, like, I go through phases. Like, I was watching a lot of Dick Van Dyke show when Carl Reiner passed. It's so good. But yeah. And Early Friends. Early Friends is also great. But
fair enough. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I'm glad we got to do it. And I'm always up for talking TV.
Yes.
There you go. That's Brett White. I checked in. The dogs were not murdering a drifter. They were just yelling at leaves. So I often mix those two things up. So if you were worried, it's fine. If you'd like to email me, you can at tvguidancecounselor@gmail.com or ken@icanread.com. Let me know how you're doing, how you're holding up, what your plans for the holidays are, what you're watching in lockdown. Love hearing all that stuff. Or you can just at me at TV Guidance or at Kenneth W. Reed on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure to follow us there, rate, review the show, go to the Patreon, go to magicspoon.com/TVGC and put in TVGC at checkout. You get free shipping. And if you do that, let me know. I'm curious what you think of what your favorite cereal is and what you watched, what cartoons you watched while you're eating them, because that's important and necessary to do so. We'll see you again next time for a brand new edition of TV Guidance Counselor.
Everyone needs to watch the butt